gotta unplug it, replug it back in.
Okay. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of Critical Builds. I am one of your critical builders.
Shit.
I hate it.
Chris Pabs at Chris_Pabs on Instagram. Welcome. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. I know I kind of am. And today we are doing a couple of things differently. So let's go ahead and see who is on the show today. And I think we should start with maybe this guy.
I got the first one. What's up, guys?
So beautiful.
Hey, guys. Welcome to Critical Builds. It's nice to have you here. Episode 3. It's gotten this far. Hopefully we get a 4. Switch to the next builder.
All right, fine.
I got nothing else to say. Let's get into it.
Let's go. All right, so we got this next guy.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 3. And to commemorate this episode, I'll tell you guys a joke.
Oh
no!
There was a Latin magician who decided to cast a spell. Uno, dos, and then he disappeared without a trace.
Oh,
right, next builder.
I get it. Okay.
I hate everything about you. I hate
I thought it was funny.
Joke. He's a dad. That's a legal joke.
Got him! Yeah, I gotta maintain the dad jokes, or else I'll just fade into
That
nothing.
ain't illegal.
His dad joke license, so we're good.
Exactly.
I gotta maintain that dad
He's a
joke.
card carrying.
All right.
Father
And,
figure.
yeah, let's
Thanks,
go ahead. Thanks for that beautiful introduction. Let's go to this guy.
Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to the show. I'm Brian, and I'm not going to tell you a joke. Looking forward to having a nice, honest discussion this evening, as always, and listening to kind of what you guys have to say out in the chat back to us. So, thanks for coming.
Be a good time, And then finally, to finish off this very prestigious round table, we have a special guest for once.
Yeah.
I mean, not have to say that everybody here isn't special. Just this guy's so introduce yourself, man.
It's your favorite Uncle Ricky. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Critical Matt podcast. Yeah, how's it going, everyone? It's your boy, True Gumpa from the Cutting Matt podcast. So we're going to talk about our feelings and our emotions today.
Oh, boy.
Mainly the feelings that I have for all these beautiful men in this internet chat room with me right now.
Oh, you call me beautiful?
Oh, hey, only the finest. Only the finest make it. You know?
Fine fish sauce. Just
Did you say a fine fish sauce?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I put my
I
hat
don't
on.
appreciate that.
First of all, I want to thank everybody in this on the show tonight. First of all, I really appreciate you guys being here as always. It's always the past 3 episodes or the past 2 episodes have been a really good time. So hopefully we can keep following suit. And then secondly, obviously, I want to thank everybody who's watching. Thank you for joining us tonight. Hopefully, we'll get through a lot of builds. We'll try to get in depth with them as much as we can, but not take hours upon hours analyzing one part because that's not a good thing.
I got things to do tonight.
Yeah, we got shit to do today. And finally, I also want to thank all the people who have submitted. I was trying to announce this on Tuesday's Brian stream, but for every single person that has submitted in the past and has submitted today and will submit in the future, I will be sending out Critical Build stickers. So it's essentially just the logo. I'll be sending them off to all of you. So I'll get after the show is done, I'll hit up everybody who submitted. I'll get their addresses and I'll send those stickers out. So
Teacher, I've got a question. What if I sent you an astronomical amount of other stickers, a whole bunch, and you send them to those people as well? But you have to handle all the bullshit of putting the stamps on and licking it and all that.
We'll talk off.
Okay. That could be a thing.
We'll talk about that. Yeah. So we'll sort all of that out. We'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, so with that, let's properly start the show. Before we start working on any builds, we do have a quick discussion point to kind of talk about, right? Something that we should probably clear the air in terms of well, first of all, why we even do the show in the first place, and yeah, I think I'll hand it off to the guy that actually started this whole discussion or this topic. So,
all right, Julio, take it away, bud.
Hey guys.
Oh shit! No,
I need you guys.
You guys are all right. Yeah, I love you. You know this, that, and the other thing. But no, for real, we just had an episode on the cutting mat where we talked about how Gunpla and skill modeling is very subjective, but yet also gets very subjected to certain criteria, standards, whatever your brain thinks about. And something as a judge, for those that don't know, I have a background of being an IPMS judge for Mecha, Star Wars, sci-fi, and also helping chapters with Gunpla as well. There's a big difference, and we see it with military IPMS and then more sci-fi IPMS judges, where your personal criteria, while you may not try to have it come into play while judging a model kit, it will happen. It's how you handle that and how you view stuff. And a big part of that is, what are you basing it on? Are you basing on the criteria set by a competition, or a criteria of your own self-improvement, or what you look up to for inspiration? All these factors come into play when you are judging or looking at something or critiquing something. And all those things are subjective. None of them are right. You can't say, well, I'm looking at this because I like that color. No one can really tell you you're wrong. It's how you handle that subjectiveness in your final results. So me personally, I always look for stuff that's more creative than accurate. And that is something where I love having different judges. There's always more than one judge for anything. And it's always great having that balance of people that I know are into something that's more technical. But together we can both came to the same level on certain things, which say, okay, I'm going to take my personal bias down. You're going to take your personal bias down. We're going to have an even result. So what I had a thought of, I had a brain thought. It went in my brain. It came out my mouth. Was that we all talked about that. It was like, what do you look for when you are judging? And it doesn't have to be, I don't look for anything. It's all equal. That doesn't work in this day and age. You got to be a little, I personally look for this. But knowing that you have to come down from that personality to a solid playing field is how you become a really good judge. I'm not the greatest judge at all, but that's what a really good judge taught me. And he's like he's like one of the top head judges for nationals type shit. So I took that information very much to heart. So I love to hear you guys' brain thoughts on it. I talk too much. Please take me off.
No,
you're good. Right, do you want to say something, or do you?
Yeah, I guess I can chime right away. Yeah, no, I totally feel where you're coming from. What I would say is, like, for me personally, where I come from is I really look at the technical aspect of it, because I've been a very technical person, and I'm very well trained and experienced. I've worked my entire life on finishes and like making things look precise and all that, just in regard to any form, whatever it is. So when I look at models, and even my old models, I see where I've skipped and stuff like that. So where my look at it and my bias is from that like perfect kind of finish sort of thing. And then when it comes down to style and color and all these different things, that doesn't really necessarily, to me, it doesn't necessarily matter. I'm going to look at the color and the style and the paint and all that stuff from a technical aspect. That's kind of where most of because I'm not really a person to like judge on someone, like where someone wants to take an idea, like fucking go for it. Like, that's great. I love to see everything. And I love to see the stuff that's like looks fucking spot on normal, but yeah, so, but also I think it's also really good, like you say, to have like cumulative. You got to have more than, you can't just be me saying, oh, this is the good, this is bad, because that's bullshit. Like, who the fuck cares? Also, like, it's good to have a discussion though and see what the discussion is.
This is exactly why I have everybody here. Like if it was just me or just, for example, me or Brian just talking about somebody's build that they've submitted, I don't think we would cover all bases. Like I don't, I mean, I feel like I look at something more creatively. I look at something in more of a creative sense. Brian looks at something more technical. Julio has his input as well as Kyle, and whenever Zasham is here, then Z as well. Yeah, and I mean the whole reason why I even started the show was actually because of One True Gunpla.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Okay.
imagine if you will, a young Chris Pabs,
this
up
man
and
right
coming,
here.
up and coming Gunpla builder, right?
Little spitty hat and big lollipop.
Little lollipop, a little bit more hair than before, but anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll talk about that some other time. And I had just started really customizing kits. Like I had just started kind of working with resin and kind of working on something outside of what I've seen on TV or in manga or in whatever. And I was feeling a little more confident, but also not really confident in sharing what I work with. And so Justinius Builds had his community spotlight show a couple of years back. And I thought it'd be a cool idea to kind of just submit what I've built. And it was the Anchoret Sinanju Stein. It was navy, it was orange, it was white. It had a very unique-ish paint job. And I submitted it, and one of the guests that Justin had was Joel over here, Uncle Ricky.
Yeah, Uncle
And
Ricky.
and I sat there and I waited. I looked through all of the builds that they were going through, and they both had very constructive and helpful comments and suggestions for everybody, and talking about what's good and what might have been improved on everybody's builds. And then they finally went to mine, and I remember the very first words Joel uttered during that show was, "Why isn't something like this at IPMS?"
Oh shit! Yeah. Oh my god, I remember that shit. Yeah.
Like, why is a paint job like this at IPMS? And then Justin said it was a resin kit, so it couldn't be at a SE or a GBWC and stuff like that. So and you're like, why couldn't it be IPMS? Why couldn't this be something like this be at SCGMC? And you spoke in content about the creativity of that color scheme and how good it looked, but there were still places that could have been better. Like they were like, and these were things I wasn't even looking at as I was building it. And I had criticisms for myself, but the stuff that you were pointing out were things I wasn't even looking at. And then I was like, oh shit. And ever since then, every single build I've ever done, I have looked at that. I've looked at that aspect. I've looked at that thing that you mentioned. And it has helped me throughout like all of my builds that people talk about. And ever since then, people have asked me for my opinion on their builds. And I was like, okay, so why not just start a show that maybe, just maybe, I can help somebody in the same way that you and Justin helped me during that time. And that is why
damn, man. Yo, get me all emotional over here, man.
Yo, you throw a pebble in a pond and you see the waves,
The waves,
watch the ripples grow.
Damn. Shit.
Which is dope.
And that is exactly why. So I feel like the years I've had as a builder has helped me create a very creative, I don't want to say third eye, but a creative eye in terms of how something looks in terms of color theory and color, what's the right word for it? Whether two colors complement each other, the color complementing.
Yeah, that's all in theory.
Yeah. And it's and even before then, like I didn't want to really critique anybody because I feel like critique these days has a very heavy term, which it really
negative connotation.
It's got a very negative thing to it, which I really don't think it should, as long as it's done correctly. And I kept getting asked anyway, and I mean, I just figured, why not? Why not just have somebody submit the build and then not just have my voice, but have other people's voices that have different aspects of their builds put into it. So for me, that's why I do this, because I was helped tremendously by somebody who was doing a very similar show in the past, and hopefully I can help somebody out with this show in the future.
God damn, I don't know how the fuck y'all gonna follow that up. I mean,
Thanks, Babs.
Man, real shit though. I would like when Justin asked me to do that with him. I was like, nah, man, nah, I ain't there yet. I ain't there yet. But sometimes just that's why I always tell people are just starting out to do some bullshit basic intro workshop. But tell everyone there that you are only slightly more experienced than them, and just kind of have that mindset throughout it. It will make a world of difference for the people you teach, and then also for yourself, because you have that stuff, a little bit of self-reflection into it, man.
Yeah,
That's good shit. Time for another dad joke. Hit it.
I don't got any at the moment. I guess that's my cue. I talked about this in the first episode. I'll just reiterate it again. I'm like a cross between both Brian and Pabs. I'm very technical because I work in construction and I do engineering and stuff like that. But I like the artistic value. So I like to create things that don't exist but do exist. Kind of a mesh of the two. So that's kind of where my eyes tend to lie. Where both, can this make sense, and also, well, if it doesn't exist, does it look cool? In an artistic value, and not just by my standard of what is cool, but just cool and wow, that's really imaginative, or wow, somebody came up with that so far out of left field kind of concept. I may not like everything and anything that comes across the table in terms of scale modeling, whether it be Gunpla, minis and all that, but I can appreciate someone that does something that's never been done when it comes to a creative thought process. And I like giving kudos to that, because a creative mind is hard to come by. And not everyone's born with that. You can learn all the technical skills known to man. That anybody can do it, from the lowest peon to the highest peon. But I feel like creativity isn't a learned thing. It's something you either have or you don't. But there's also different facets of creativity. Like in cases like Brian, he's very technical in his creativity. He can come up with things in an engineering standpoint where he's basically inventing something for his scale model. It makes sense. It's functional. You can actually look and go, oh shit, yeah, I could build that in the real world. And then in the case of Paz and Julio, they build things, and same thing for Joel too. They build things that are like a narrative creative aspect. There's like a fantasy aspect to it. It's like, oh my god, that's really cool. That's a grand idea. I didn't think about that. And it hypes you, like, oh, that looks badass, or oh, I love the way you combine everything and all that. So I try to build myself in that regard, where I want to maintain learning the function, the fundamentals, functionality, as well as also fostering more creativity, because everyone's got creativity. We just got to pour water on the seed, let it grow and get going. And I think a lot of it is a confidence thing. And that's one of the reasons why I was driven to join Pabs on this when he asked me to join, was to help people foster. I'm a huge advocate of knowledge, and I don't want people stopping themselves from doing what they think is the next step in growth because they don't have confidence in it, or they don't feel like they can do it, or they don't understand how to do it. And so one of the aspects I like to cover on the show is like technique. Like, oh, you may not have known this, but you can do this style. And it's like, oh shit, I just open up a builder's perspective on what they can and can't do, and it gives them more freedom to be creative. Like, if you know how to do everything, then all you gotta do is focus on your creativity, and that just makes everything super easy. So that's where I'm coming from in aspects that where I want to help people learn the techniques, so then they're just free to be creative. They don't have to, oh, panel lining is too difficult. No, if you do it this way or think about this, it's no longer difficult, and then now you can focus all your brain power on your creative side. So yeah, that's where I kind of come from.
Hell yeah. Do that last part. Yeah, that's it right there, man.
Yeah.
God damn, y'all some smart motherfuckers.
What about you, Mr. Aponte?
I am the Brooklyn Roast Company. I will roast anything in this world. It really, I just, I've been an artist my whole life, and you can tell when things don't look good, or, well, subjectively to me, things don't look good or things do look good. And, I've judged here and there and learned, because it was some of my first experiences, and I'm still learning. Being on this show is a learning experience for me, seeing where you guys see all this. And, I can tell if things are good or bad, and then critique, I feel like. So I'm here. Yeah.
There you go.
It takes an eye to roast things, so you see the real bad in it.
Real shit. Roasting's an art, though, man.
Yeah.
Like you have to be hyper aware and hyper self aware about the shit that you're calling out.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, it's a fucking art skill, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
it really is. It's fun.
it's not. It's fun.
All right. So, well, yeah, there you go. So we don't often have discussions on the show. I mean, you had 2 episodes or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not often that we talk about stuff like that. So hopefully that gives you some perspective on where we come from when we talk about this kind of thing. And thank you, Joel, for bringing that up, because I think it is that we talk about our backgrounds and why we do what we do, and and again, this show is very specifically to help. It's it's never been one so that we can shit on somebody's build. It's never been about any kind of recognition, because of our perspectives. It's all about just wanting to help someone, lighting a fire under somebody's ass, so to say, to get them to a better spot for them personally with their builds. So whether it's mini, whether it's automotive or army, it doesn't matter. Like if you're building something and you want to get to another level where you feel like, okay, I am starting to improve, then maybe this show might help. So there you go. All right, so I am terrible at transition, so let's just go on to the first one.
You killed it, man.
Speaking of helping, we're going to help this individual.
Yeah, speaking of, there you go. See, I wouldn't have thought of that.
That's why we have multiple people here. We got each other covered.
Also, speaking of, if you guys have submitted a build, and in the last like 2 episodes, so episode 2 and this episode, and you don't see it, please contact myself, Brian, Julio, Kyle, and we will try to straighten things out. For some reason, the system's kind of been messy the last couple of days, where there's been a submission and it's just disappeared, and I'm not sure what's going on there. So if you guys don't see your builds here, let us know, and we will make sure that it is on the next episode. If there is a next episode, I hope there's a next episode after this.
Yeah, it'll be next episode.
Yeah,
damn right.
But yeah,
you're the producer, man. We gonna be here.
I'm the producer. Anyway,
people submit, so
So
we could just submit our own stuff.
We could do that. So let's go ahead and start with.
idea. Maybe I'll do that.
Let's go ahead and start with the first week. I did. First of all, I want to apologize to this guy, because I did say that his bill was in the last episode, which it wasn't. So we're gonna make sure you are number 1 today. So the first one is, if I pull up the Zibana, Mr. At Otakudan. And his so his Instagram is at Otakudan, and his build background, or his build description, is he doesn't really have a name for it, but the inspiration was that he wasn't a fan of the original color and wanted to make it look neat. So he just wanted to recolor it, kind of something more of his taste. So let's go ahead, and I wish I had a producer. Share screen. Bam, bam. There we go.
Yo.
Oh, Julio, you're all the way at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's you today. So, who wants to start?
Dan went hard, and I like it. Yeah, really, really nice. The gold isn't too yellow that it would throw off the red. It's really nice, man. I do enjoy it.
Compliments it. I like his color selection on this one. Like we've always said in the past, black is a very tricky color to play with. You either, some people, like in my case, paint an entire kit black, and that's kind of a taboo thing to do, or you don't use black in a good way to complement your primary color. This particular kit was very well done in that. If you look at how he has the accents between gold and black and red on the chest, that is a lovely combination of the 3 basic colors minus silver, and it gives a nice blend where you can actually tell the surfaces apart from one another, and it gives it that dimension. One of the things black does is it takes away dimension. So if an entire kit is black, you lose a lot of that because it's all lost in single color. He did a really good job about separating it where it didn't do that. That's one of the things I like to point out when it comes to black, because black it's a great color. I love it. It's huge, but when it comes to depth, it's sometimes not your best friend. So you have to be smart about where you place it and how you use it.
So when I got his submission and I looked at this thing, like, obviously he has it's all metallic. It's all metallic. So it's metallic red, metallic black, and all that stuff, gold, and all that stuff. The thing that stood out to me the most are the eyes. Like the fact that he kept those eyes blue. Or did he keep
green?
Or they made the eyes blue. Amidst all this metallic, the sea of metallic, some would say. It just gives it life, I think.
Yeah.
It gives it. Yeah,
I like that his metals aren't like highly flaked. You know what I mean? Like the pigmentation solid.
Yeah, the
throughout.
particles are
Yeah.
And it's all
It gives it a smooth finish rather than that grainy look that you sometimes get with metallics.
Yeah, this is a good kind of example of really good texturing in terms of, and a good way of blocking out colors. Even though he doesn't have that many colors here, this is a good example of using block colors with not as much separation as you would expect.
Yeah.
Now the gold application is a little shoddy in spots. Like
it's a little.
Where you see more or less in certain of the veneers. Yeah, and this is an RE kit too, mind you, so it's not terribly detailed.
Yeah.
On what it has, it's kind of a modified HG, as many of you guys know. So
they're a RE1, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
and mind you, too, this is an older F90 kit too, so they didn't really have a lot of fancy designs with these.
I do really like the design of the Vigna. Vagina.
So I don't know if those are panel lines or seam lines. They look thick enough to be panel lines.
Oh, on
the backpack. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't put it together. It looks big enough.
I think it is a panel line. It's the way it's recessed.
Or it's made that way, molded into it.
So if there are, like, a quick tip for me personally is whenever I see a seam line for my build, a seam line that I don't particularly want to get rid of, you can just transform it into a panel line. If you don't have a fancy Sujibori door tool that that makes it into a panel line, what you can do is you can put you put the two pieces kind of together, then put a piece of polystyrene sheet around about maybe 0.3 millimeters in between the two, and then scribe using a 0.15 scriber down each end.
Yep.
And that'll give you that line, that depth, and when you put it together, you'll have like a nice 0.3 millimeter line that goes down the panel.
You can also make your own if you take a chisel bit and then tape a styrene block and just measure out how far you want it. So you can make a tool too. But Pabs is correct on that one. That was what I used to do a lot of times before I got more invested.
Yeah.
Can you go back a photo?
Yeah, of course, man. I mean,
So like right where the metallic black starts, right under that thruster, that's another panel.
What are you talking about?
On the wing portion.
This
the binder?
No, on the right side. Like the flat surface.
Below the gold veneer?
Yeah. That's another panel line, or is that a seam?
That's another panel line. No, I think that's a seam. So I want to say the top portion is a panel line, and then below that it's not. I don't remember if they carry it through. I'm trying to remember.
What I'm guessing happened here is this had like a separate panel design here, and then to remove maybe some nut box, maybe sanded, and then this faded, and then this he didn't close this panel, and then didn't rescribe this. He didn't close up this seam line and didn't rescribe this panel.
Yeah, if you look below that, those two circular members down the bottom, that's how you know it's a panel line. Look at the offset. So the square, it doesn't consist. That's common for panel lines seam lines versus intentional panel lines in the kit.
Yeah.
It's off centered. So yeah, that's more than likely the top portion of the binder was a molded in panel line, but below that it's a seam line. So in this case, you can just carry that design all the way through the binder to maintain consistency.
Yeah.
Or seam it up. The choice is yours and how you want to go about it. That's kind of a tough place to sand. So it might have just been easier to continue the panel line in that area so you can maintain that consistency and it doesn't stand out that way.
Yeah. Look at this texture.
There's a lot of really good color separation in this model. We've talked about that quite a bit. But you must, I gotta say, you gotta make sure you hit all of everything. So even if you're masking and your masking is a little bit loose, just take a second, go back, chase some stuff like the shoulders with the gold cabling on the shoulders. In between is also gold on the armor.
Yes.
Just like a loose mat, right? Yeah, you can see that right there. I don't know if that was a brushed on or what, but I mean, not to pick nits.
Little stuff like that does go.
Could have been hit. Yeah, little things like that will set somebody off.
Hey, Dan. I got some words for you, bud. I ain't gonna like it, buddy. Using metallics is always a game of bomb defusal, especially when it comes to the scale of what you're doing in the pigment. Whenever I see all metallic builds, everything is metallic, I always try to look at them the best way that I can. And one of the biggest issues is when you're using metallics, you have to really keep in mind that the more colors you use, the more variation, and the more that, like, at least when I look at it, I see metallics. If there's multiple layers that are building up either highlights, a pre-shading, a zenithal light, the metallic flake particle issue, the size or seeing like the individual flakes kind of goes away. The eye is drawn to the different changes and variations in color tones that are highly contrasted, being color separated, and then also being fucking metallic, which is rad. And this shit looks fucking rad because you do have the color separation in there. I would say if you want to do something like this again, just add like maybe a lighter red metallic and a little bit of maybe like a silvery gold, and just kind of hit some highlight areas just real quick. It'll make a world of difference of how it looks. Like, this shit looks rad. You do some shit like that, spaghetti, perfect.
Ooh, delicious.
I was gonna say, like, the pigmentation of metallic colors is always been a stickler for me.
Yeah.
I've never liked the glitter that comes off of those things.
It's so hard to do. It's hard to do. And actually, a lot of this is what I picked up with Sofibi painting, like Japanese vinyl. It's just crazy colors everywhere. But if you were just to do one solid color or anything, you would try and concentrate on every little detail of that solid color. When you got an array that's color complementing, going from the darker red to like a burnt or like a little bit of brighter, like an orange to like a sunburst kind of fade. Even on the gold, dry brushing a very faint mix of silver with gold, making kind of like a rose gold to dry brush on top, and just little details like that will change everything. So, dude, like, Dan, I'll know you fucking experiment with this shit for sure, dude. So, like, try some stuff like that, even just like on a test, like some junk parts you got. Have fun just like building up a gradient of metallic colors, and you'll see that difference.
True.
I'll say this much though, for being not a fan of the metallic pigmentation, he did a fucking bang up job.
Dude,
he really did.
Are so good.
Yeah.
So on the note of graininess, I watched a Japanese modeler. He took base colors, so like kind of fluorescent base colors of vibrant reds and yellows, and he mixed pearl, the Mr. Color GX Pearl with it, and for some reason it gave it the paint that shine without the grainy look. And I've been dying ever since I saw that to try to replicate what I saw to see if in fact it is not grainy, because I think the pearl is still metallic in itself.
So we got sorry, keep going.
But that's something I want to look into, and I'll let you guys know, because I know Chris Kumpla in Miami was asking if it's grainy, would buffing help it out?
Yeah.
Typically, buffing does not, because you would buff your clear coats, not your paint, and your paint is what the graininess comes from. But this may potentially be a solution to preventing the graininess you get from metallics. So eventually, I'll I see it frequently on USA Gundam, and I was like, I should buy that and try it, and I just forget. Maybe this is the time to now do that, and that might potentially be a solution for that ongoing problem. But there's other methods too that help dial down the graininess.
On the very, very rare occasion that I use metallics, I use a very specific set. So I use Gaia's Starbright set. So it's like Starbright Silver, Starbright Gold, Starbright Copper, all that stuff. For some reason, like, and I've only noticed this with Gaia, not Mr. Color, not Mr. Color GX or anything like that. The pigmentation is microscopic. It's very small. If you guys saw the heat harbor that I posted yesterday, I think it was about a minute time. There are silver parts in there. There's silver underneath the handle. There's silver on the piping, and you can see it. It doesn't. You can't see the filament. It's very fine. So if you guys are looking to use like that colored silver, I would say, or anything, or golds or anything like that, and you're seeing the metallic flakes.
Yeah.
Give the guy a notes, Starbright stuff.
And your 5-story, what is the Jaeger? That's got metallics mixed with clears, so that's how you can get like the red in this case. Like, how would you get a metallic red without it being green? You could potentially use the Gaia Note silver and go over it with a clear red. You're choosing, so that could be a valuable option. If you look at Pabs's kits, both the 5-story as well as the He-Hawk, those are perfect examples of a consistent color for a shine without it being grainy.
Right.
So, Pabs, you mix down your metallics differently than regular pigments, right? I'm guessing.
Correct. So I use first of all, I use Gaia Notes' metallic master metallic master thinner. So it thins down the paints without it affecting the metallic the pigments at all. Like a certain amount of shine. And then secondly, I thin the fuck out of it. It's like I use, I think, a ratio of around about maybe 4 to 1.
Oh, okay, yeah,
it is
real
very, very thin.
But that has to dry incredibly fast.
Yeah. Here's the silver, right? The silver is at the bottom of the thing, and then here is all of the thinner. Like, it is very thin. Like,
I think a lot of the problem with the big filaments on metallic paints is people don't thin them the way they should.
We use like Alkali, where they say, "Oh, you don't have to thin, you're good," and that leads to a lot of problems. Like Alkali is the biggest culprit of grainy metallics.
I'm gonna pull a Brandon here. Usually he's the one with all smart sciencey bullshit.
The chemical he's a chemical engineer, so he's like,
as much as you thin it down, the metal flakes that they use are those flakes don't thin down. They're the size that they are.
They're the small pigmentation.
It's the way that they're
a lot of mass production paint companies buy their flakes from the same automotive paint companies that are larger, and they have their own process to bring them down to a manufacturable and a reasonable size. Companies like Gaia, while Tamiya and most companies are, here's automotive, here's Tamiya, Gaia has a process where it's like down here to the size because of their own engineering of buying the cheap automotive flakes and turning that into a very fine pigment. So always test your metallics on something before you try, because Tamiya's metallic is a lot different than SMS metallic. You always want to know, the pigments and what you're looking at before you slop it on, and then you're like, fuck, no.
So I mix Mr. Leveling Thinner with the top coats, the clear and the matte, and it works fine. I haven't done it with metallic.
I used it with their enamel. Here, I actually have a bottle of it here. It's empty, but of their, not hot metal, regular. So their transparent red. I mixed that with Mr. Level Thinner, and that worked just fine. That's actually what I painted Oscar with. So firsthand, you can use Mr. Level Thinner. It's already pretty thin, so you don't want to go too crazy because it's not like your standard paint.
My computer froze. I'll be right back.
You used an enamel paint with Mr. Color Leveling Thinner?
So I don't think the transparent. We've been talking about this frequently, and it's been sitting with me. I don't think the transparent red is the enamel. I think it's the hot metal red and the candies that are enamel. I need to look further into that.
I thought you were talking about the candy red. I was like, oh.
No. I only use transparent red. So what I did was me and Paz have talked about this previously, because that kit has been full of its nightmares and trials and tribulations. But I mixed it in a separate bottle as I showed you guys, and then I tested it to see if how sometimes you get the thickening if you mix alcohol with certain paints, stuff like that. And yeah, it had good spread, good spray, no congealing or any of that. So this is only with transparent red, though, mind you guys. I have not done it with the hot metal nor the candy. And I know for a fact candy is enamel. I don't know if transparent red is, though. So this is still up in the air, but we'll Google it and look. Because it's got alcohol and cateine in it. So those are primary solvents to lacquers and enamels. So it's hard to pick down which one it falls into.
That's the problem.
So even though I said you can do it with this color, take heed on whether you can do it with other colors, because I have not tested on any other colors.
There you go.
Touch back on your polishing metals. So metallic paint you can polish. This is a Mr. Metal color, right? This is a copper and an iron, right? This color, this paint, you can polish this. So it is designed to be it's basically a metallic coat.
Yeah, it's a buffalo.
You put on top. It's thick for the most part.
Similar to the chromes.
And get a good shine. It's not going to give you a chrome, but it will give you shine. I have painted like little mini figures. Like I did this. That's why I got this copper. Was to paint these little mini figures, and I buffed them, and I made them look like they were old statues, and they're like tiny. Right.
Yeah, that Mr. Color series is actually really fine on the grains as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, these are pretty good for these ones specifically.
It's very similar to graphite buffing. So you put like a bit of graphite powder and then buff it.
Exactly.
It's
or if you were casting resin.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, there you go. So
our next contestant.
Yeah, so that was I'll talk to Dan. Thank you for submitting.
Really, Dan. It came out.
A shout out for him. He started adding form submissions for the Gunpla 101. The what is it? Shit. Help me out, guys. It's the website where they do Gunpla 101 tutorials.
Gunpla101.com.
And he's submitting his
that's
spell?
the one, but it's got that fancy Japanese name to it, though.
Real quick, Dan, I was thinking if you were to add decals to it, I think it'd look nuts.
Yeah, that'd be dope too.
Yeah. All right, so let's go on to the next builder here. So this man on Instagram, I'm trying to. Is Angie at Dr.Domon under Cujo Requiem. That is quite a mouthful. But
hello, Doctor.
Dr. Domon.
Dr. Domon. Now, I will say real quick, Dr. Domon, if you do submit in the future, please try to add more than just 2 images because we only have 2 images to work with here. I'm making an exception because I think this is a very interesting build. But just try to add. There's a reason why there's 5 images minimum for a submission. I'm going to add it just this once. So let's go ahead and share his build.
You get a pass.
You get a pass.
Because you got a PhD.
A little hall pass for you. Don't run in the hallways.
He's a busy doctor, guys. Let's think about what's going on these days.
All right. So his explanation of this build is I wanted it to have a multi-tool and armor loadout similar to the core Gundam, but also throw in some Kamen Rider by all means is it not finished. I just need to tweak some parts. You got to color scheme and prime it. Yeah.
Let's take a look. I heard Kamen Rider, so I'm good. Hell yeah.
It does give me like a final form ride vibe.
Yeah. This is the boss.
Like this is the Kamen Rider's final form, like Infinity or King form or Extreme.
So definitely before priming and going into colorway and all that, surface prep. There's a lot of loose glue here and there that'll get in the way of your paint job.
Yeah.
It's a really good kit bash though. Like throwing it all together, the head looks nice. Really, really good forms in here. Good shapes. I can't wait to see this thing painted.
Yeah.
Really kind of bring out the details of each of the parts.
Get it all cohesive.
That's one thing I did notice. So it actually took me some stressing because obviously I'm not familiar with most of the seed kits and the like the GNX and all that. So I recognize some parts, but it took me a second to catch each of the individual parts, which is what that tells me is his seamlessness in kit bashing each of the individual parts is really good, because though like certain parts like the core on the legs from the Exia kind of thing, or the shoulders from a GNX drive, or some other things kind of stand out, some of the other parts, it takes you a second glance to go, wait a minute, is that part of the core kit, or is that added on? And obviously he's got the shoulders from the Shining and all that. And what makes this integration of parts good is when you have to take a second guess to see if that was part of the base kit or if he added it. So I want to give you kudos for that direction, that whether this is your first time or 10th kit, I'm not entirely sure, but I think you have a really good start at what you've been doing, because it, I had to take a second guess at some of the parts and go, oh yeah, that isn't part of the base kit. That's something you added, or that little kneecap here, or that little side shoulder here, things like that. And that's what really makes, when you mix a bunch of parts together, that's what really makes it success, when you can make it more seamless.
I absolutely love that he combined the God Gundam's chest with the blue frame stray. That is a very good look right there, I think. Here's kind of where the thing for me is I'm kind of lost in terms of I'm not really sure what he's trying to do, and this is kind of a stick me again, kind of complaining that there's only 2 photos of it, and both of them are of a front profile. I would love to see what is happening with the side of the legs here.
I would like to see more.
I mean, it's very interesting to see kind of what he did with the Barbatos, either Lupus or Lupus Rex, legs here with the blue frame again. But I'm curious to see if this is like a 00. It looks like
it looks like the
Exia 2 legs as well. The feet.
Yeah, I mean the feet are blue. Right? It does be the blue frame straight.
Yeah, it's the blue frame.
Okay, yeah. Looking at the top, the way you cut off, I was like, I couldn't tell. Yeah, multiple angles helps us decipher this too. Again.
So that would be really helpful. But otherwise, I think your concept is on point. Like I think this does give me a core Gundam vibe, just because this is, if you guys don't watch Build Divers
Re-Rise.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, the main, I guess, main protagonist is very similar to this. So the Uraven core, it's based off of planets or something, right?
Yeah, Mars, Venus, all that.
Yeah, it does give me that vibe, and a lot of the parts that you're using here is very cohesive, I think, in terms of design. So you've got not only the sharp, not really sharpness, but like the flow of the blue frame, but you also have the flow of the God Gundam almost kind of being synchronized here. So I think it's a good look. I'm not a big fan of the GN drives on top. I feel like
they do kind of look slapped, right? Look a little bit stuck on there.
Yeah, the gap between the God and the GN, that's kind of what throws me off. That big opening there, like, is that supposed to be
that's all
following along with the ashtray with the face thing, or is that just kind of a?
It's also a forced perspective thing, because it could be the backpack, but you can see the shadowing on top of the shoulder.
Yeah, with the 00, they come over and around onto the shoulders. I like it there because it gives me that like Lord Nobunaga type feel to it, like big samurai shit.
Kind of like
I've been playing a lot of
shoulders.
Sounds like you playing a lot of that game, huh?
I'm playing a lot of that game, but it gives me that feel. It does.
This I fuck with this. I mean, kit bashing is fun as shit, and go wild with it. And I like that you mentioned that it's kind of Kamen Rider influenced. Kamen Rider, I mean, from Showa era to now, has always had wacky, crazy monsters and villains and shit like this. This reminds me of like the anti-hero dude that becomes good like 20 episodes into it or some shit.
Coming in playing a flute.
Starts out as a rival,
I
and
am
then
good now. Yeah.
No, did you watch Drive, right?
No, I actually haven't seen Drive.
You didn't watch Drive, because this does remind me of the second, I guess, the secondary writer who was initially.
I've seen the suit. Yeah.
He was like his name was Death, or I can't remember his name right now.
Yeah. I would say also when you're just a kit bashing in general, don't be afraid to use. I noticed I can't really see too much what it is on the VFin.
Looks like epoxy putty of some sort.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's dope.
Like
don't be afraid to use other stuff you have laying around your house, man. Kamen Rider suits designs are just recycled suit parts and greebles from past shows over and over again with a main design. Kind of take that Kamen Rider approach with this is, maybe to fill in the gap in there, you're throwing some stack a bunch of straws together, make some like crazy piping that goes through it.
Yeah, or like
or like Gatling cannon thing.
Yeah, just play around with random shit you got. Hell, take some Kamen Rider figures and just take greebles from those and add into that. That'd be fucking rad.
Yeah.
Have fun with it, man. It looks dope.
Good form.
Now we mentioned epoxy putty. Kit bashing, epoxy putty can be your best friend. And I'm going to say in 2 points. One, let's say you have a part that doesn't conform to another part. You can use the epoxy putty to fill in the gap. Like, maybe you want to do that with the shoulder, maybe you don't. Or in the headpiece. Other thing is too, when kit bashing, obviously the parts weren't originally part of that kit. So you have to find a part like, how do I make this separable so I can paint it without pulling my hair out, and then also bring it back to the kit without making messy glue that I have to clean up? Well, that's when you can use epoxy putty. You use epoxy putty to fill in the form, and you can use some Vaseline, some good old, I have a bottle here somewhere. It's just neither here, but Vaseline to kind of keep the parts separable. And then it allows you to make parts that almost were like stock to that kit. So then you can separate it and then paint and then not have to fucking hate life. Yeah, exactly. So it gives that mold release. So that's something to note. Like, I know when I do my kit bashing, because I have a really bad habit of taking things that don't easily go together and having to make parts out of that. Epoxy putty has been my best friend on negating all the headaches that come with that. Because that just, as long as you're mindful and you think about what you're about to do, you can really make it super worthwhile for yourself in the long run by integrating that tool into your wheelhouse.
I agree.
Otherwise, man, very creative, really. Very, very creative work. Hopefully you post. I haven't seen if you've posted more updates on this thing. Hopefully you submit it again, at a later stage, so we can see kind of your vision come to fruition. But in terms of this concept stage, very, very creative and well done, man. That's some really good stuff.
I want to say one final thing about that one, and this kind of goes for everybody and everything, and I do it myself, and Chris is also an advocate of this as well. Surface prep, Julio too just said it just like a second ago. Surface prep is going to matter. There's a lot of glue on that thing, and there's a lot of glue on everything that we build. It's just the way it is. You got to get that thing to stick, and so sometimes you just fucking glue the shit out of it. But take a little second. Refine it, sand it before you prime it, sand it after you prime it again and again and again until it looks good, because you know that you're not going to be able to hide that. Even if you weather it, it's still going to be there. Even if it weighs on your conscience, you'll lose sleep.
You'll know.
So please everything that you put in, you get back. And if you do it now, it takes a longer this one. Next time, it takes you 75% time. Next time it takes 65% time. Faster you get faster and faster. That's how this whole thing. Yeah, exactly. That's how this whole all of it goes. So, don't forget to do that, because we get a little bit eager to see that final result. Put that paint on there and get the thing, but then you may end up being dissatisfied by it, where you could have spent another day just doing a little extra, love.
Little sandy.
You loved it so much. Love it. So
Give it a little
you
kiss.
put enough effort into it already. What's a little extra?
And anything you don't do now, you'll have to do later anyway. So why not do it now?
Or you could be like me and put putty all over it, so you don't have to worry about surface.
It's textured, right? It's a textured.
Roll steel.
All right. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. And I think we are going to have a little bit of fun with this one.
Contestant number 3.
Contestant number 3 is somebody I think all of us are unfortunately very familiar with.
Unfortunately.
I'll put his name up and immediately know why. So here we go. Boop.
Oh man.
Are we gonna? Do we have a sensor ready?
Are we? No, I don't.
This is rated R, man.
It's rated R. Is this gonna be rated R?
You know, Freddy's builds are little NSFW.
This is far from NCIS, SW, BB, DSM. Who knows?
Man.
All right. So his literal his description is 2 words: Mad Max. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'll go ahead and
I know.
share.
Mad Max.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Go ahead and share
Play
this,
Rusty
okay?
ass. Or middle of the desert ass.
oh man, Freddy is he's Sid from Toy Story, man. God damn.
He is Sid.
You
I
know
will
when
tell
the
you
statement
something,
He is
starts
man.
saying
Sid.
Freddy 3 times in a row, it's gonna be good.
Freddy
Man.
man, he is he started Horrorpla, and I will say Freddy is like the king of turning cute shit and making it fucked up. And I think this is one of the early examples of that kind of led him down his tentacle rabbit hole.
Yeah, because I think
you
the
know,
move right after this one
green
was
stuff
his
stock
tentacle.
went fucking rising after he found out
True,
about
there's
that
none of
stuff.
that. Yeah, this doesn't give me any cosmic horror vibes at all. So
No, at least, but this is the beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is
So-
the
This
start.
is good.
This is before
I
he
am
got touched by
getting
the Ultra Gods.
I'm
So
getting
Freddy-
some crystal armor vibe on the shoulder though. The crystal knights and the crystal warriors from Sen's Fortress and the cathedral in Dark Souls.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel a little bit of Space Godzilla.
Oh,
Yeah.
True, Mechagodzilla right here with that face.
It's like
Yeah.
it's a whole bunch of different genres. Like kaiju, you've got Western horror, you've got some BDSM in here with this mouthpiece right now, and it's just a whole bunch of things that Freddy's into all at once.
That chest is all Gurren Lagann.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah, it's true with the face.
Yo, but it's also like the furnace from Nightmare on Elm Street.
True.
Like what was that other one on Home Alone? The same thing with the.
That's true. Yeah, he's got the face. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, all four of you, real quick. I want you to go back and watch this, and because all of your immediate reactions were like, "Oh fuck, that's dope. That reminds me of this. Oh, this and that." Y'all were so excited about this shit. And that is what the power of some fucking crazy creativity can do. It can really drive you away from what you normally look at.
Yeah, that was the first.
You guys remember the first episode when we looked at Freddy's blue balls?
Yeah,
we could not stop pointing out little details of innuendos, like, "Oh my god, there's this! Oh my god, there's that!" Like that is the power of Freddy's builds. Freddy's the master at putting little things within little things with little things. Like you look at it, oh, tentacles. But if you actually pay attention to his overall build and then zoom in on it, you're gonna be like, "Oh shit, look at this guy! Oh, this bear guy's getting sprung up! Oh my god, look at this!" And like, this is the one thing that Freddy doesn't get enough credit for. It's like, oh, it's off the wall. That's edgy. That's not Gunpla. Whatever. Oh, that's not cutesy. He's defiled the great things. No, if you look at it, he actually has a very methodical way of making his builds within builds super entertaining if you actually pay attention to what the hell he built. Like, oh my god, he did this. Oh shit, he did this. And you start getting curious, like, oh, what else can I find? It's like a fucking I Spy book. You always have all the little things and things going on that have nothing to do with what you're looking for, but they're still entertaining.
On that head, I'm gonna cut you off, Kyle, for 1 second.
No,
on the head, switch back, Pabs, that last picture with the head, right? On the side, you might think of that and think, "Oh my god, that looks like he fucked up with the paint. He just got it dripped off in the edge. He did nothing." That's tears, man. That is fucking sweat and dirt and tears. If you've ever worked in the sun in a dirty job and had the wind blowing and the tears going, that is fucking dried ass, dirty Mad Max tears on your face.
I was gonna say the paint job on this is fantastic, fantastic.
It's
the texture, it's phenomenal.
And that's the thing about weathering that a lot of people, at least in my opinion, fail to mark on. It's cool to go dry brush things and do edges, but if you look at it, like, and this is me kind of breaking on to the more technical side versus the creative side, you go, okay, well, yeah, at a distance that looks cool, but when I start zooming in on it and let you like really paying attention, I'm like, did you just go ham sandwich on your kit with a paintbrush, or did you actually know like what was going on? Like Freddy's, this is a good point of reference when dealing with weathering, because weathering is, there's so far extremes between one another when it comes to what is right and what is wrong, and everyone will tell you a different answer. My answer to this though is, if you can look at a weathering, and Freddy and Taz, Gundam Taz 07 are great builders and are perfect examples. I look at this band here. You can see the paint, and then you see where it flakes and shows the bare weathered metal under there, like over to the left, other left. There you go. Right here. Right, there you go. That's like you know how hard it is to do that? intentionally do that. Like that is a huge technique and things like. But also, when you look at that, even though this is a fake thing that doesn't exist, you see realistic elements scattered about. It starts bringing it more into the realm of, oh shit, that's pretty cool. And you see this in movies too. Like they'll have an alien that doesn't exist, but they'll take things that do exist to start making it seem more real, to bring that factor of fear and all this. And, oh shit, this may be possible, even though you know it doesn't exist at all. When you start putting in real elements mixed in, it starts closing that gap on you.
Yeah.
So these are the things I want to point out on this kit that are like, oh my god, they're like, they touch my pee-pee.
As demented as Freddy's psyche is, and I will not question. I'm not going to ask how deep it goes. I think what Freddy really excels at is his storytelling.
Yeah.
Like you look at this kit, you look at the overall thing, you look at the basics of it. It tells a story. For example, Chris, if you go back to this first picture, yeah, I got you. And you zoom in on this face mask again, you can tell that this thing was black at some point, right? But it's got dust, it's got rust, you see peeling of that black, and you can tell, okay, so this thing's been through some stuff. You look at everything. You look at every aspect of this thing, and you can tell that there was something behind. There was a reason behind every single thing. Like like the mechanism on the back of this thing.
That's an engine.
It's not a perfect engine. I was going to say it's not. It's not a perfect engine, but you can see on the exhaust, like there's oil leaking out of the exhaust, so it's not exactly well maintained. There is a story behind it, and this isn't weathering for weathering's sake. It's not weathering to cover something up. It's done very specifically to tell a story, and that's something I always applaud Freddy on, despite his
lunacy.
The thing that bothers me about this is that the fan blade is not messed up at all, and everyone that has ever owned a car that you beat up, the fan blade gets screwed.
Freddy only owns a Razor scooter, so
what do I do with this?
But
I've only seen pictures.
This thing is a great example of weathering. One of the other key rules of weathering, less is more, but is layers. Weathering is all about layers.
Yep.
Just to do a rust, you're talking 5-6 different colors, some pigment, some texture. It is all about selling that effect. And one of the best references you can ever see is on a construction site. Looking at machinery, looking at dumpsters, looking at all this different reference points. Because here's a really good example on the chest is that mesh in there on the screen. When you see it used a lot, it's usually just painted whatever, silver, and it's done. We have like a mud texture in there, the original brass that was on there, and then it looks like it was dry brushed a little bit with the silver to replicate the scraping that would happen.
Yeah, don't get it twisted. That dog hair is on purpose.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah.
But all
this used to be hairy at one point.
Yeah, all this shit is also, like you were saying before, referencing the things around it. If that bolt is rusting, not just the bolt's going to be rusted, there's going to be a trail going down, and then that part's going to get rusted, etc., etc. Also, the big thing with this is that this is why I love SD and why I love chibi stuff, is that the scale of storytelling, the scale of subjectivity to it is endless, because we don't know if this is a dude and how big this is. It could be as tall as a fucking, I don't know, the Empire State hot dog building, or it could be a little dog. We don't know. It is up to the imagination. Just like y'all went crazy at the start of it with your imaginations, like, oh, check, look at this, look at this, look at this. This personally, because I've been watching a fuck ton of Trigun, reminds me of the village that came together and made their mecha suit to fight Vash, and they realized it was just it's a good guy, and they're like, oh man, so the bear starts crying a little bit, it's a little bit sweat. This looks like something that would come out of fucking Trigun, man.
Yeah. They mess with scale a lot in Trigun too. Dudes are huge.
And they got shit that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any fucking
I got this yo-yo with chainsaws on it.
I am as much praise.
Oh, I got a cross with guns and guns inside.
Yeah.
As much praise as I'm gonna give Fredo here. One nitpick, one tiny nitpick. in terms of his weathering is I am seeing a couple of fingerprints here and there, especially on the head, which kind of gives away the sense of
that's a burn,
which is I mean that's in the biggest sense scale of things, it's not a big deal, but it is something that you notice as you look closer upon closer inspection.
I'll point out too that the rusty weathering on some of the aspects, though I know this is small, but at the same time I'm a stickler for that kind of technical shit, and it looks like it was painted on with the small like 00 artisan's brush or some shit. It just looks like it was just kind of like in there. I'm gonna feather that shit out.
No, I don't know
nothing has a hard line. Sorry.
I don't know if it's a decal or not, but these face tattoos, really well done. Like there's no silvering at all. You don't see whether it's really well melded in.
They're painted nicely.
Yeah,
and weathered.
Really
In the rust sections of the paint, for me, I would have liked to see a little bit more orange highlights, like in the wide
multi-tone
areas. Yeah, just to make it pop a little bit more. Like you see the highlights and all the like the edgings and the creases, but in the actual paint chipping and rust itself, I would have liked to see some of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there'd be like mad oxidization on the underside of the central spike and shit. Like, I'm a metal worker for 15 years, so I know. I mean, I'm super like I know way too
gravity.
much.
Everything gets brought down by gravity. Just think about gravity.
Take everything that I said and subtract 5 points from it because I'm too hard.
But otherwise, Alfredo.
Alfredo.
Yeah, dude, I can't. As much as I may or may not have seen too much of you. This is a phenomenal build. I am. When I first saw this, I was blown away. Anytime I see any of your builds from this one to tentacles to all the other stuff. Yeah, the meat flaps and all that stuff. Like, it's just like where and how did you think of this? And also, you mad fucking genius. What kind of goes through my head? So
keep doing it.
Yeah,
he's still doing horror plot this year, right?
Yeah,
he's still doing it, right?
Yeah.
Look him up.
We're gonna do it this year again.
Oh right, Joel, you're part of that.
It's gonna be more grotesque, more fucked up, more.
Ooh.
Man, and I got somebody that's worked in the horror movie industry.
Oh shit!
Oh wow!
Yeah, they're gonna be helping out, son. So it's gonna.
I'll put some more time into it.
My retarded competitive nature.
No more.
What are the stipulations for this horror plot?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. There has to be something
when does
cute
it start?
that's
When
now
does it
fucked
end?
up. No
When
idea.
does it start?
Yeah,
obviously it can't be like explicit. NSW, BB, DSM, RX, whatever.
We've never.
I mean, if you see some pictures from last year, they were pretty much there.
Someone recreated one of the Candle Corpse covers with resin and as a 3D like model. Oh my god, I want to paint that shit so bad.
I can respect that.
Sick.
What's the deadline?
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't have any fine details yet.
It's all in the ether right now.
Stay alert.
So take it cute, make it awesome.
Make it fucked up. No, not awesome. Fucked up.
Fucked up.
That's awesome. Depends. So yeah, make it fucked up. I hear you. Make it horror. I got you. Take it cute, make it scary. Got you.
All right.
If it doesn't make you uncomfortable, it's not good enough.
Let's take a quick break from critiquing and let's do our first feature of the day. Or the night. I guess it's not
feature. We're gonna have like a song or something. Joel, hook us up with a song.
Yeah, Chris Pamphlet in the pictures to show us the ding-a-ling. Yeah, show us no ding-a-ling. I want to bring it all day. Show us the robot.
All right, so feature number one is by one 00 builder.
Ready?
Let me see if I can get his info. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just say his description before I show the picture. It is the Grimgud Mandalore version, and I'm going to just quote him. I had this idea of revisiting the original Star Wars trilogy. I had previously ordered a 1/144 scale H.U. Grimgud, thinking I was going to do something completely different with it, and decided I wanted to hand paint something more militaristic, inspired by Boba Fett. It was my first time really taking my time on the kit, and I was proud of the result, despite knowing there were some aspects I could have done a better job with. It's inspired me to take more time with my kits, and that the little details matter. All right, so let's go ahead and share.
What is this, Joel?
You ready for the Fett? Boba, the Fett?
Hey,
The fatty Boba.
fatty Boba.
Yeah. This is all hand painted.
Yeah.
Huh?
This is all hand painted.
Oh, Boba the Fett's gonna be doing some highlights on Boba the Fett.
So Boba, what do you think, man? Like this is. He's happy. Yeah. He's good.
Yeah, you heard it here, guys.
You paid me the big bucks to say much, sir.
Not allowed to
Sticking
speak.
around, guy.
So good to be dead. I don't know.
Fantastic, I think.
Yeah, match
Yeah,
colors
give 'em a
is a really good kit to use
Mhm.
to emulate Boba the Fett, which I think is kind of cool. You know, the only thing is I wish they had the
It's a feature.
well, no, I'm just saying it's not an argument or anything. It's just, I want the skull.
Well, the skull was Boba Fett's insignia, right? The skull.
He had the bull thingy or whatever it was.
Yeah,
It was one of them.
I know which one. I could draw it for you if you'd like right now.
I've got one on my arm.
It's one of them.
No, I really like that. Because I built this kit, I know it well, and I'm planning on making my own custom of this specific kit someday down the road. But I really like the work on the back, in regards to the Ahab reactor details, and then the replacement. It looks like the replacement of the hosing and the legs in the back of the legs. It's really good. So, it may just be the colors blowing out my eyeballs, but it's really awesome.
For somebody who hand painted this entire thing, I think you got the greens very nicely done. Like,
Yeah.
the shades of green.
High grade, right? Yeah, this is
Very
high
rich
grade.
too.
I
Yeah.
have the MG, so
Yeah.
so, whatever.
Wow. Fuck yeah. Fuck anyone that's hand painting a whole kit, you're a winner in my book. Because
Yeah.
you're already going above and beyond. But this is a really good representation of like just a colorway, like a Fett skin, in a sense, like in a video game, like a Fett thing, because
Yeah, all the houses are replaced.
there's not a lot of colors in here. It's just greens. It's mainly just green, red, some oranges, some tans, and the 80% of it is that green. And you've nailed where the accents go on here.
Well, it's two tones of green.
Yeah.
PPH.
They complement each other very
They did
nicely.
really well. Yeah, they're subtle enough, but complementary enough that when you're backed off, it does just look like it's one green. But then you get in a little bit closer, and you're like, oh fuck, that is really.
Hand painting those metallics on the frames really nice too.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
something
I get it. Yeah, I love barriers.
Is just one little cheeky water slide of just like the Mythos skull or the little icon, just one, like on the leg or something, takes it to the next level. I'm serious about it. It really does. You can get away with one water slide that can just sell the whole entire subject matter you're trying to put. Fucking right there. I'll buy it. I'll take 10
Right now.
right now.
But good shit, man. Good
Drag
job.
to cart, buy.
Double Builder. I think I can't remember your real name. It is Jack. There you go, Jack. Yeah, well done. Thank you for submitting, man. Appreciate the time, and great build. Great build. I mean, I look at this and go, yeah, Boba Fett. Yeah, I get it. It's cool. It's cool shit.
Very much so.
Good shit.
Okay.
I'm gonna need a Django next.
Yeah.
And then, an
And
armor. Yeah.
Death
the
Watch.
Mandalorian while we're at it.
The Mandalorian.
Just do
All right.
them.
So on to our next critical submission. This one is a little close to home. I'm gonna actually let me go ahead and remove Jack's name on him. Boop. And we'll put on the next person's name.
A little close to home.
I know this guy.
He's in the same house.
Literally the same.
It's within the same vessel.
He's in the house with you.
have the same spirit. So Chris _ Pabs.
Who's that?
On some dude.
I thought it was Red Suns.
It was Red Suns, and then somebody got peer pressured him into changing it to
R3T5UNZ.
oh, tongue, man. R3T5UNZ. Boom. So I didn't put a
models coming from inside.
I'm going to describe this build real quick. This was my very first foray into resin kits. And this was a complete accident. I didn't know I was buying a resin kit at the time. I thought, what is this?
Happy accident.
I saw it.
Resin, that's a weird plastic.
Cool looking kit. And I ordered it, and then it didn't arrive for like 6 months. I was like, where did this thing go? And it finally got here. It came here in a very small box, and I was like, "Why is it so small? Like they must have made the sprues super tiny." I opened it up, all this orange stuff came out. I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" Didn't know what was going on, but eventually I kind of wrapped my head around it. I watched a bunch of videos, and I came out with this thing. I am for most people who don't know. I am a clean builder. I like to clean build, factory fresh, we might as well just start with the first.
So one can say this is when the addiction started.
This is what started it all. Yes, and this is a really bad one to start with because it kind of set the bar a little too high for any other resin kits out there.
Ooh.
Oh,
God damn! So
of course it's the Barbados.
This was built what,
so hot in here. God damn.
2017, I want to say 2018.
Man, this is the type of shit that makes me want to do some clean builds because, like, it being that sharp, aggressive fucking resin
Just
design you see.
Bam! Right in your face.
Standing there.
Boom.
Just, also, props on the head placement, man, on the photograph. It's just that
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
evil
Posing as a
look,
key.
man.
Kind of looking.
This man's about to throw hands. So that was my thing. When I was like, I want this thing to look like it just stepped out of the factory door and was ready to throw hands.
Man, this is like that joy in Naruto in like the first episode where they finally meet a bad guy, the big sword. He's like, this is what exactly your kid is just giving me that fucking like pissed off
He's like,
vibe right
I've
now.
been training for 44 episodes. I'm ready to throw down.
No filler here, bitch. Let's go.
Quick note. So Diangawa, he says that he found those Dave's Wells videos. So it was actually the person that I watched was Vegeta 2289.
Hey.
Oh yeah.
I forgot to get a run through
Legendary.
He gave me the crash course. It was like, this is what you gonna do with this thing, and I was like, all right, let's go, let's do it. And so even though Dave's Wells is really helpful, Vegeta he's had his up there for a very long time. So props to Vegeta. His name's Henry, I think. Right?
Yeah,
Henry. Yeah.
Henry.
He doesn't go by Vegeta anymore. Yeah.
So this was my first resin kit. I'll point out all the errors and stuff in a second, so you know. So
really? Because I can do it too.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Don't worry. Just wait. We'll get to. We'll roast me too.
There we go. Do us a favor and zoom out. So this is your. I'm not sure if your signature existed before this or this is when you locked it in, but this is a PAB signature here. You've got at least 5 colors on your kit, and they all work together very well.
Fuck yeah, dude.
PABS is by far one of the builders I look towards on emulating accent color schemes, because you were really good at that, where you just ever so slightly a tone darker or lighter, slap them together, and then build some other stuff around it to really kind of give yourself an overarching copacetic color chart. Like not just 2-tone, 3-tone, or whatever. And in this case too. So if you zoom in on the forearm, you've got 4 colors on there. You got 5: red, white, gray, green, blue. But look how well all those colors work together to build nice depth to that forearm.
Everything is very cleanly, smoothly laid down. It doesn't
look
look
overly
like
over the top, like, oh crap, that's a lot of colors. Oh shit, that's too busy. No, they all work together very well.
Not even that. I'm talking about surface condition, bro. Yeah.
That matte gonna make me nut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the mat. Ooh.
This is where
I
I
love a
very,
mat like that. Oh, buddy.
I got very lucky in terms of why this was my first resin build. Like Extreme Squads, like the very first casting of this resin kit was, I mean, to put it in the name, extremely clean.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was not much I had to do in terms of surface prep there. I mean, I did still sand every single surface, and this is where I kind of picked up that habit. However, like it wasn't as much of an effort as, say, some of my more recent offerings. So yeah, this was definitely a bar set
Good
way too high.
Zoom in on that left shoulder pad. Blue part.
Hmm?
It's his left. Oh, yeah, there you go. All the way in. Yeah. Right in there. See that?
Yeah. So
What's
here's
going on here?
here's what's happened to this shoulder. So when I started out, I hated. I mean, I still do. I really despise masking. I fucking hate. I hate it with a passion. Sometimes I sit there and I go, "Why do I do this? Why am I doing this? Why does this suck? Why am I here?" And I tried to do a reverse wash with a Model Master enamel white.
Oh.
It did not go well.
It did
Clearly.
not go well.
Like it was this was very tough, and I was actually really proud of the way this is all put together. So this is all magnetized from like the shoulder area, starting from the chest all the way up to the shoulder. So this is all magnetized.
Oh wow,
Um,
wonderful.
and I mean, it holds a pose. It I can mess with it, and it doesn't feel like it's gonna loosen or come off. But
Like,
yeah, this was my very first kind of attempt at a reverse wash on an
Well, you did a fucking amazing job for your first time, man.
it was tough.
Yeah,
I was
terribly
I was,
bad.
I was close to tears. I was like, oh, this is
It's not working. No.
Yeah. So what we're seeing here in the inside, what he's saying on the inside of this is like a residual whitewash that has not been able to be cleaned up or whatever. It's caught in like little minor details you would normally see. Yeah, that's just unfortunately that's kind of what happens.
While we're looking at the shoulder, do you want to look at the inside of the shoulder?
This thing. So the overspray here. This I kind of count towards my impatience. I was like, oh, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint all this blue. I'm gonna paint it 2 shades of blue, and then I'm going to mask this little thin piece of this area off, and then paint the rest of this dark gray. And I didn't do that because I got lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's easy to get lazy.
Yeah,
it takes a long time to fix it if you're lazy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and it's something that I still look at. Like I said, it's right in front of my bathroom. I look at it to this day, and I'm like, I wish I could have done something to that.
It's on the poop shelf.
Yeah, I hear you.
You knocked it out the park, dude. Even with your laziness like that.
Man, I'm looking at what the mosquitoes see. People don't see that shit.
And another thing that I wish I could have done to this thing was, so this is where kind of color surface is very important. This yellow that I used here could have been a lot more vibrant if I had used a pink surfacer.
Yeah.
You used the gray.
I used the gray and then I hit it. Same with the reds. Like I hit it with a gray surfacer, thinking this is what I know. Let's just do that. And even if you hit it with a white, it still doesn't have that same vibrancy because pink has that shade of warmth that elevates.
I've definitely learned that recently, that the pink is good for colors like red, yellow, and oranges to really kind of give that vibrancy. I have yet to start implementing it, but it's definitely a lesson I've learned recently.
If you guys saw my wound wart that I posted a couple of days ago, that uses a pink surface on the yellowish orange parts, and that if you compare that to this yellow, which is supposed to be of a similar tone, this looks a lot duller, just because of how the gray underneath kind of just
it really knocks it down.
It steals the life out of the paint.
Now here's something that a lot of people don't know. There is also scratch building on this thing.
Oh.
Did you do any extra scribing yourself?
A little bit, but that's neither here nor there because
I noticed some abnormalities, but we won't talk about them.
but yeah, so this is also one of my kind of first forays into scratch building.
Okay.
So in my impatience and my stupidity, I was clipping very small pieces of resin onto large alligator clips, and that's never a good thing.
Mhm.
And the shoulder,
Bite marks.
the shoulder pistons, just went flying. And 3 years later, I actually did just find the one that I'm using.
I've been looking for this.
I've been looking for this for years. I found it.
I've had that. I know that. I know that. I feel you. I feel you, brother. I feel you.
So these shoulder pistons right here are just brass rods painted up metallic primer, hit it with white, and then I took I can't remember the size length of the cylinders from Evergreen, cut them, painted them red, posted them up, and that's it. That's all.
Yeah,
Mad
that's
money.
all she wrote. And then
Mad money.
you missed the panel lining fluid. It looks like there, and then on the front side of the chest. So those spikes to the right.
Am I right?
Right there. Up.
Oh yeah, what's up on
You
the
see
top
that?
of the chest?
MP scribe line looking
Hold on.
cool.
One at a time. What would it be?
Is it panel?
Yeah.
Let's go. Scroll down to the crotch there real quick.
Yeah, there's a couple areas where.
Hairline. It wasn't one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is me kind of rescribing, trying to rescribe lines.
Yeah.
And messing up big time. And this is before I had any kind of any BMC, any MadWorks. I was using the Tamiya Scriber 2 here.
I can't wait.
I feel your pain.
Holy shit!
The only thing I can
until you've used the Tamiya Scriber as a.
And this is also a good lesson to kind of tell you guys. Don't be, and I've said this before in the previous episode. Don't be afraid to use different panel washes, different colored panel washes, because I could have used the gray here and it would have been as harsh. I could have used the brown on these yellow parts right here.
Yeah.
I could have used some additional detail. That would have been really helpful. And yeah, I mean, this is just a lesson in being patient, and hindsight is 20/20, right? So yeah.
Since this, you've exceeded yourself a whole lot.
Yeah.
My
You've
only
learned the lessons that you taught
is
yourself.
some masking parts here and there, and I'm like, it's nothing. That's nitpicking.
Yeah, I'm nitpicking the hell out of this because I know and love.
It's the only way I can come up with things to criticize on this build.
One personal thing I would have really enjoyed if you did here, add a sixth color, like a darker gray, to pop certain areas. It would look really, really nice, man.
Or a middle tone and a lighter gray. You do now, like you did with the woundwork.
Yeah.
I think again.
You learned that.
Yeah, I think it's like this is a testament to what this thing has taught me, because I mean the dual tones of white and gray were fine, but I feel like nowadays I do tend to lean more towards the more subtle contrast between the two, and then I add the third one to give it that stock, like here's something that you should look at rather than these things.
Yeah,
so it's like
definitely do the draw the eye with your color coordination.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, so.
God damn, dude. Shit's dope.
Thank you. I did have something else in mind to say about this thing. This was also my first foray into using this fluorescent type green. You see this a lot, like in a lot of my more recent builds. This was a humongous pain in my ass with this build, because I was using, again, Testor's enamel fluorescent green. So I was working with what I had. I didn't have any fancy kind of Gaia notes or anything like that. Most of the colors you see here are Mr. Color, some Tamiya. I can't remember if I listed all of the colors here, but this was also my first foray into photo etch. So you can see there's no painted photo etch anyway. It's all just that
but you still applied it properly.
Wow.
I did. I was so proud of that, man. Like I said, I cried on the shoulder, and then I cried on the photo etch. There was a lot of tears in this build. Another thing that I look at this and go, I can't believe I let this slip, was some major masking mistakes. Like, look at this red right here.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about that, but there's a bunch of holidays. It says right here, it's holidays.
I thought there was a battery meter that was like, it's full, but losing a little bit.
It's like 90% full.
Good enough, 92%.
Stuff like my panel wash. Like, I didn't wait long enough to gloss coat everything before my matte coat, so it kind of what's the right word for it?
It ran a bit.
Do you have any hidden fingerprints you want to tell us about, Babs?
Surprisingly, no, not for this one.
Okay.
And then the biggest stickler was these side skirts were a big pain in my arms to put together. I was very lucky and applied the glue on the photo edge of the circular bit behind this thing right here, because otherwise you see a massive glow of glue that I just didn't pay attention to.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
God damn.
Good work, Paps.
Good shit, man.
If you don't know, now you know.
And then obviously some
Yeah, so
dirtiness.
what kit was this in your run? Like how long have you been building prior to this one?
So in terms of like really taking it seriously, this would be maybe my fifth kit,
That was like serious?
like painted. Yeah, like fifth
Oh, wow.
painted.
Shit.
It's very fucking nice, bro.
Dude, that's great for you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off, dude.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, no, like where to zoom in and be like, oh fuck that thing. Oh fuck. Like I know all about that.
This kid has taught you so much shit. Never get rid of it. Never.
No,
get rid of
it's this stays with me for life. Like this thing, I feel like it put me on a path that I absolutely enjoy. Like that, this thing is, like I said, it's always the bar that I set for all of my builds. Like, will this be better than that guy right there? And if it's a no, then I'm doing something wrong. And
Straight
yeah,
up.
I mean, I do absolutely.
Straight up.
I still look at this thing and I absolutely
pushing that growth.
I still love everything about this kit. If I could feature this in every photo of my future builds, I would, because I still love it. I mean, it shows. I think, in my opinion, my development from this thing and onwards.
Yeah, you must never forget where you came from.
Yeah, you don't know where you're going until you know where you're being.
My Colgies is still there. I'm never going to fix him. Just leave him that way.
Put this next to the wound war and take a picture.
I will. I think I will. That's a good idea.
Do a Throwback Thursday thing, before and after.
Yeah, and
my first resin kit to my recent resin kit.
So yeah, if you guys don't follow him, at Chris_Pags, you can see stuff like this and more and stuff. And actually, this was one of the first ones that this build was one of the reasons, or one of the first interactions I had with One Child of Mecca.
Again, this was another Child of Mecca.
I eventually submitted to Justin's build, and that's at the time. Tim was a guest, and he saw this, and he gave it some praise and stuff like that. And yeah, every now and then I look back at that episode, I'm like, oh yeah, this was my first time kind of.
This was your gateway into resin, into One Child of Mecca.
One Child of Mecca. That's what we start calling him. One Child of Mecca.
One Child of Mecca. Can I get One Child of Mecca, please?
Sir, this is a Toys R Us. Yeah. So thank you, me, for submitting.
Thank you, Paps, for showing us where your first resin kit and letting us critique you.
Yeah, eventually, when I do another submission, we might go even further back. So
to the first.
Maybe
I know that if I submit a build, I'm definitely going to submit one of my first builds.
Yeah, I think we're going to go a little further back to something that I was very what's the word for it, enthusiastic about, and we can tear that whole thing apart, because
this is the build we do not speak of.
It's at the very top. For some reason, it's at the very top of my display shelf. I never ever wanted to be.
Covered
You were the first.
of dust.
You're supposed to be the chosen one.
All right. So with that, the next critical build, come back. We know who this is. I think. So let's just show his name. Boop.
Oh, I know that guy.
If we can't see the criticism, we shouldn't be doing the show, right? So,
dude, I have got criticisms for this guy.
So let's go ahead and look up this guy's name, because who knows who this guy is?
Bro Builder.
Let's see. There we go. So at Bro Builder, on Instagram.
Oh wait, I gotta. You know what? I'll be right back. While you're gonna run through this real quick, I'm sure it's pretty boring. So I'll be right back.
Right. If Colleen ever makes a YouTube, she should be Bra Builder.
You can't hear.
So Instagram at bro_builder. He is also on YouTube. Is it bro_builder on YouTube as well, or is it just bro builder?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so
no, I don't think there's underscore.
I think just look up bro builder. You're about to find it. And so the Ingava says this is about to become a soft roast bite. This is to kind of show you guys that just because we are criticizing doesn't mean we are immune to the criticisms ourselves. Like it's not about a roast. It's showing you that because of some of the things that some people have said to myself, to Brian, to Julio, to Kyle, it's helped us grow as builders. So I think this, so showing these builds and then kind of talking about them in a constructive, criticizing way, it will only ever help, right? So
self feedback is a must when it comes to growth. If you can't look back and either see what you did wrong so you don't repeat that, or you can't look back and acknowledge that you have gained more skills by no longer repeating the wrong. It's good because when you learn so much, sometimes you have to take a step back and acknowledge what you've learned to help learn more. Because that could be very difficult when you're on the road and you're like, how far have I walked? Or how far do I have left to walk? You got to look at that progress check sometimes.
So
you lying.
Lying. So let's go ahead and I'm going to read off Brian's very lengthy description of his build here. But before actually I do that, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys like the first picture of this build. So let's go ahead and share screen.
Gonna wet the tip.
Yeah, we're gonna wet it with a work in progress.
Whoa, shit!
Let's go ahead and so the name of this build is the Pursuer Zaku. Okay, so and I'm gonna quote him: MG Charles Zaku built for the Zaku Aurelius Custom Zaku contest circa 2017, and it was an honorable mention. Based on one of the most badass and problematic enemies in Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin, the Pursuer, and driven by my love and dedication to the game series. I customized the helmet, pauldron side, and front skirts, and scratch built the sword and shield. The sword, power cables, and pre-highlight on the armor were airbrushed, but the armor's main color and all the metallic details were hand-painted. I tried to give the sword and power cables the glowing with power look using basic miniature painting techniques. This was my fourth Gunpla build, my first Xeon kit, and my first attempt at customization. Since I was new to this form of scale modeling, I did not have the array of tooling and specialty products I now employ. Instead, I used what industrial products I had at hand, namely epoxy sculpt and heavy plastic dividers from industrial hardware storage bins. I cut the heavy 1/8 inch industrial grade plastic using a combination of successively drilled holes for the round components and a utility knife for the straight cuts. I bent the raw shapes for the shoulder and side cuts using an open flame. The shield and sword were made by stacking flat pattern shapes, gluing and sanding back to create smooth volumes. The scribes on the modified front skirt, lower legs, shoulder, sword, and shield were performed with a normal carbide scribe for meld and chased with a small file. No scribing guides or dymo tape were used, though I did use a drafting compass to lay out symmetrical circles on the shield, which I carved in by hand. I tried to carve the receiver for the hand peg and the hilt of the sword, but was unsuccessful, so I used a small elastic band to keep the sword in grip. This build was an incredibly rewarding experience and acted as a springboard for my excitement about the hobby, which in turn led to faster progression. The more excited I am about the project, the harder I work on making it what I envisioned and subsequently grow more as a scale modeler.
So before we go into the build, you can learn all the techniques from any one person at any given time, but Brian's, dare I say, lengthy explanation of his build is a testament that
it was long.
If you just take what you know and just try to figure it out, you can still find success in this. You don't have to follow the core principles of One Child of Mecca or the scribing skills of my software. You just gotta, get creative and use what you know. And Brian's background, he comes from machine work and resin building and crafts, all that. So taking to a smaller scale wasn't as big of a leap, but still he had to get creative on using tools that he didn't have. So sometimes, like using a hobby knife to pen line scribe. You don't have to buy the latest and greatest. You just got to get creative. This is going to be a testament to that too. That you don't need the fancy tools to make awesome shit.
Just do it, because this shit's fucking badass. I remember the contest too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that shit was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty. This was pretty dope. I had a good time, honestly. Like, I'd never built a Xeon kit before this. I mean, okay, so I built 3 kits before I built this one, but yeah, it was like a big changing over for me to be like, wow, this is something like, because before that, I was making models and stuff, and I was like, all right, this is cool, and then I built this, was like, this is cool, like, let's do this, like, all right, giddy up, let's fucking go.
Brian is now a Xeon fan for life.
Yeah, that's why I am fucking Xeon's poster child. That's why I am Kodokai. Yeah, this is me learning scribing. So those scribes were not done with the Tamiya scriber. Those were done with a carbide straight metal scribe. So they were done with a big metal pencil. They were there was
one that is not used on plastic regularly.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild.
Love that shit. But you can do it. It's not easy. And it takes a lot of cleanup, and you got to go back and forth. And there's like it's made with one of these. Just like, there you go. It's just a fucking metal pencil, essentially. Yeah.
Holy shit.
There's one focus, but yeah.
And in a machine shop, you use that to mark the metal for increments of measurement or right on. So
if you're trying to, or if I'm cutting an edge or doing something, because that's what I do or have done before this whole shit went down. But yeah, that was my first foray into panel scribing and layout. Worked out pretty good. And then it's also my first foray to pre-highlighting, which is the technique that I use all the time now, which is where I painted the whole model black, and then I bring the whites back out to create the shading tones. So you don't get that black pre-shade line. You pre-tone, you prime it in gray, and you pre-tone with the color, whether it be black or brown or pink or whatever, however you want to do it, and then bring that shade. A neutral middle tone even. So this is just basics. This is just black and white because I'm using it to make an armor tone like the Pursuer Zaku. So that was just simple. But if you're doing a warmer tone like Chris was talking about earlier with the golds and using that pink, you can throw down, a brown and then use the pink as a shade to bring that brown up to a pink, and then paint the gold over that shit, and it throws like stacks those colors, and that's the way your eye sees. That's what they teach us in like painting class. So like when you're dealing with like layers of oil paint, I've talked about this a bunch of times on streams. I'm sorry. So but yeah, so I'm gonna shut up.
You're right, Brian. When it comes to any form of shading, everyone uses black for pre-shade, post-shade, whatever. But realistically, black doesn't exist when it comes to shadows or shades. It is simply a darker tone of that color. So the way you do it is you either use a complementary color or you use that color darker. So like in the case of white, you use a gray to symbolize a shade, or purples, you use blue, stuff like that. And that's all part of color theory. And then you actually get a better shade by doing that versus just black. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, I love pre-shading black. And you're going to find the other crowd where it's like, don't ever pre-shade with black. And you'll find both sides of the coin. So it all depends on what your end goal is, but yeah, there are other ways to bring the shadows in without black.
Yeah, you can see the horrible pre-shading on all of the power cables. Oh my goodness, it looks terrible.
I was gonna say there was that
you didn't rub it all. You didn't rub it all.
There's like some striping.
It's so some of that was done like painted, like airbrush, like trying to airbrush pre-shading with each one of those individual beans on the end of a skewer, and then some of it was done
like spinning a little bit. And,
and some of it was touched up with brush paint, and then it was all top coated with that like bright blue to kind of try and give it that glowy feel. But it looks handmade, baby.
So this is a testament to how nice this build is, right? So I was looking at this photo specifically, and I was like, "Oh man, this is fucking beautiful." And the only thing I could point out was like, "Oh, there's a seam, like there's a mold line."
Yeah.
On the I was like, mold line.
Well, I mean, because I basically hand painted all of it. I appreciated it all with the airbrush, and then I painted all of that that tone on top, and that tone is fucking weird. Like that was a fucking accident. So I had no paints right when I painted this. I had 5 colors that I got with my airbrush when I bought it, like blue, red, white, black, and hell. And then And then I grabbed, I went to a store that was going out of business, and I picked up a couple of different colors, and I got like this fluorescent green, and I got this like, what the fuck else did I get? I got something else, and I got this color here by Golden, which is called Quintachrome Nickel.
Hold on,
What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this?
There you go.
There we go.
Nickel Chrome.
Yo,
What'd you call
that
me?
is like
That's the fucking color, right?
that's thyroid medicine.
That's iodine right there.
This is that color.
That's a generic medicine.
All that copper is that.
So this in successive washes, because I'm a traditional painter, I just went to school for all that shit. So like this is layers of washes on that gray black base and white, and it brought out that gnarly green. You can kind of see it when it gets a little thick down there around those thrusters on the you can kind of see it building up to create its actual tone. But when done in that relaxed fashion and spread out, it created all this crazy depth, and it makes this green tone pop out. So
my only gripe, and I know in certain parts of the armor it is to have a shine metallic finish. I would say some of the other, like the legs, the skirts, and all that, would have probably leaned more on a flat coat versus a gloss. Yeah. Like I know the shoulder pads and some of the other armaments were to be silver, so that a gloss to that makes sense.
Dry brushed,
but some of the green would have probably benefited more off of a flat coat to show the depth of your colors, because you have at least 3 colors within the armaments. Especially since it's got that grudge look to it.
I would even say like a satin finish.
Satin finishes probably would be better. That way you get the semi gloss to it without also losing the depth you would get from like, flat.
This almost gives me like a patina kind of look, right? Look, if you had done this in a satin finish, I would have given it like this armor was beautiful at one point. And it was glowing, and then all of a sudden it's starting to lose its luster, but it's only starting to get there because you have very light shades of green here and there. I think, dude, this is fucking fun. Look at this photo.
This shit. I
if you
remember
zoom
this.
in, it's rough. I took this photo on a potato, but
I was gonna say, my one criticism is if I zoom in, it is very shaky.
Lose it all.
I was holding it in my hand with my phone. Took this photo.
Here's another thing I'm making mention. Now, that sword, you said you used mini painting techniques.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget that there is a nice little bridge between those two communities that are heavily involved in a lot of people's builds. And, you got like Julio and Brian and Joel that paint minis as well as paint Gunpla. And you can take a lot of the techniques and bounce between the two. And like, don't be afraid if you're a mini painter to take those and put them into your Gunpla builds, or vice versa. Take some of the things you do with Gunpla and put them in your minis. Like, you can have a commonality amongst your hobbies.
Absolutely perfect example of this. I mean, look at this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This
that's just stacked styrene, right? And then sanded down to the sword.
Dude, it's like, dang, I still have it. This is actually chunks from that shit, but they're basically these dividers that you
from the shelves,
industrial shit.
So it's like a polycarbonate polystyrene.
There you go, baby.
Quantum storage systems.
It is
pretty
thick as
styrene, man.
Holy heck!
And you use power tools on it.
Yeah. Literally, I use like
bandsaw action.
I use like no, like a drill. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go. I got
templates.
I literally drilled all these little holes, right?
And then sanded it.
And then I cut it apart with a knife, and then I filed it all down with files to get it all to do the things.
Layers of that.
Yeah, right there. Look at this design, man. It's fucking
there's a will, there's a way.
Really
and it turned out fucking succulent, like a dome shape.
It's like
fucking blowing my mind.
Yeah, 3 or 4 different layers stacked up like a pyramid, and then sanded back down so you oversize it to make the plane. It's like I don't know. I used to make skateboards. I used to make lots of stuff. So it's like it all like ties together.
Like Tim has mentioned this before, and I know we've talked about it. Whenever you scratch build, just think it's simple shapes all brought together, and then you just shape it from that. Like take a bunch of squares and then round the edges, boom, you've got a circle shield. You just got to think that rudimentary, thought process when it comes to
this guy is good. He should have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I agree, Miguel.
I think he does.
Those scribes are thanks, bro. Yeah, you can check me out on my YouTube channel. And those scribes on that sword are rough.
I was gonna say, so
I mean,
you can see like some of the jumps and stuff like that.
It's so hard to describe because I scribed it all by hand. There was no Dymo tape, no guides, no nothing.
And you're doing circular scribes, mind you. Those are hard even with Dyno tape and shit.
With a metal pencil.
Yep.
You did that with a big pen.
See, like I don't mind.
That's not a fine point pen either. That's pretty. It's a pretty rounded tip.
Nah,
I personally think it looks good. Like I remember this contest because this is the first time I ever entered it into a contest. I had that Russian Zaku sniper joint that's all fucking metaled up and shit. But I remember seeing this and like, yo, what the fuck? This is cool as shit. Like it was such a wild concept, and just like the overall everything with it, man, it's one of my fucking favorite joints. Like it's just fucking awesome.
This is what really stood out to me when I looked at this build was this head.
Yeah, that
right
shit's
here.
fucking
look at how symmetrical you made this.
Yeah, that's a lot of precision sanding right there.
Mm-hmm. It's all file work, baby.
Yeah.
Do those files. The seam line on
that calibrated hand.
Hold on,
oh my God. Seam line on the muzzle. Holy fuck.
Hard.
I was about to mention.
Stab you in the mouth.
It's just it's a weld line. Don't worry about it.
No, that is bad. I done bad. I'm sorry.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's bad.
Too.
It's like you jumped into the whole customization thing and everything, but not really kind of.
I wasn't looking at all the small things.
Yeah,
right.
And it's very easy to dive into your idea and go, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this, and this." But you got to take a step back. Like, I find myself doing it too, and that's why I prime check just to check. But yeah, it's very easy to get lost in the sauce of your, what you want to do customize wise. That you totally skip over the basic fundamentals of the kit, and then those little details come and bite you in the ass later when you're finalizing everything, or even when you go to turn your build into the competition. You're like, oh shit, oops, and then you're like, oh, why did I get second, or why did I get third? And those little details, the concept and the idea was phenomenal. It's the fundamentals that get you knocked out of the top three, and you're like, shit.
I've not entered that kind of competition before, but with the ones I have entered, with anybody who's judging my builds, I've always asked for feedback. Did you ask for feedback with this build, Brian?
I didn't ask for feedback, but I spoke with Zach about it coincidentally after the fact, because that's just kind of how it's all my whole journey has worked out. From like doing my thing, I've come into interaction with Zach, and so I've been able to just talk to him about it in passing. So that's why I have gotten judges' feedback on other models that I've built, obviously, because I put a lot of stuff into competitions, like lots of competitions. So
we might see more coming in the future.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think it's really important to get, if you can get feedback from the judges about your builds, kind of get an insight into
never be afraid to ask the judges for feedback, and if it's a good judge, they'll give it to you.
Why you placed where you were, and
even if you get first, ask for feedback.
Yeah. It's always there's always things that would make you.
I love it when anyone that wins first place asks for feedback. It's a fucking, you never really see it though.
No, they're like, oh, I got my trophy. I don't care. Like, no, don't stop there. You can keep moving.
Yeah.
Even the top people still have room to grow.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, well done, Mr.
Here.
Builder.
Thanks, guys.
We got one Mr. Macho Models.
Macho Model, the man himself.
Where'd Joel?
Where's Joel? Right here.
That's Ricky.
He's in the Pabst Kyle sandwich right now.
He's the meat.
There you go. All right, but
spicy meatballs in this sub.
I know we didn't have a lot of criticism for Brian there, but just it was that's a phenomenal build, man. Like, what can you say? Like
first custom.
Yeah. First custom. Oh shit. But yeah, well done.
First fully painted build too, actually, but I'm paint things for a living. So.
The transition wasn't too far. over
So
the creek.
while we are at Brian, let's go ahead and do a. So Brian, I might have you share the screen instead because
Sure, I can.
the links you sent me would not open.
Oh, straight up. Yeah, because I
I
tried to
tried.
send you like megabytes of imagery. Hang on, let me get some
tried.
stuff warmed up here.
So the next feature we have is let me see if I can get his name up again. Bam.
Oh, this guy. Oh.
This guy.
Oh
So
shit!
let's go ahead.
One
and
bro builder.
I'm going to if you guys are wondering which one he submitted, I'm going to say 2 words to you guys. The flea. So, his description is a custom design mecha model in 1/20th scale, which was the winner of the OMC, the original mecha competition,
Whatever, yes.
2019, and GBWC Anime NYC 2019. Dimensions of the base were 15 length, 13 width, 17. What's T, Brian?
Tall.
Tall.
17 inches
height.
tall. So it's
Yes.
17
Come on,
inches
man.
tall.
We use H in the industry.
The build utilized
EWH.
The build utilized parts from approximately 13 Bandai kits, many custom cast resin parts from my 1/100 Gujan Full City project, some parted out assemblies from Kotobukiya, a couple modified Gatling toy models, as well as many scratch built elements. I first got the idea for the quad mech in its base form while frustrated with another build and daydreaming at my workbench. I didn't know where it would end up, but I knew where it would start, and that was all it took. The process to completion was incredibly organic, adding and removing elements as needed over the months it lived on my workbench. Fun fact, the bulk of the body is comprised of plastic scoops from protein shakes. The camouflage is themed after a patent called Flecton. It was created through a painstaking masking process of layering colors in different size circle masks. I made 3 circle punches by sharpening one end of
I can
brass
talk about
tubing
this.
sections. Yes, Brian, please do, because I am.
So yeah, we'll just let me just give. We'll do a brief journey. Let me share this said screen.
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Share it. I gotta see. Let me see. I gotta ask to do it.
Are you guys ready for this phenomenal feature we're about
It
to
is
journey
it a
down?
tab? No, it's a window. Here we go. It's this one.
Ready?
So I have like a couple of photos from
Oh
all of
shit!
the work.
You might be here, Waldo.
Just a couple, a couple gigs.
All right.
Couple thou.
So it started out with.
An idea.
Once it wakes up here, watch. It won't want to look at it now because I chose a different window.
Did you choose to open?
Hang on, I opened an actual window. Hold up. I gotta do this again. I failed.
It's harder than it looks, right?
It is a hard.
No.
Somebody tell a joke. Somebody tell a knock joke.
Knock knock.
Who's
All right,
there?
here we go.
The door.
The adore who?
No, it's just your door. So what the fuck?
You guys, sup, dog?
I'm trying to share again. There we go. Thank you. All right, so it starts here, right? So this is 2 Gusian chassis, right? 2 pelvises from the Gusian 100 scale Rebake, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh shit.
And I slapped them together because I thought that they would look pretty tasty with some of these leg components from the Full City that I built, right?
So cool.
And then one of the bodies of the Full City too, right? So then I threw in this. This is a Panzer tank engine resin on top, just for funzos, right? To give it a brain, because it felt like it was dumb with its head open on top there. But yeah, so that started out, but I skipped the brain part and started dealing with the spider form because I love me some quad mechs, Armored Core, and growing up in the '80s and all that. So I
Brian, we have a question from Jay Santos here.
Hold it up. Let me go back to it. Come on, computer.
Here, I'll hit you.
3 protein scoopers, was it? How much protein did you consume for the sake of the build? Well, I was like a semi-professional skateboarder doing like crazy physical downhill skating for a long time. So I probably consumed like dozens of massive containers of protein shake over the years of my training and like physical maintenance. So yeah, you just save shit because why throw it away?
a lot, essentially. He consumed a lot of protein shakes.
It's actually made from five of those scoopers. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because
a dad joke to save the moment.
So give me a second. I'll come right back with that.
You guys want a dad joke while we wait?
Yeah.
Let's go.
So my wife's really mad at me at the fact that I have no sense of direction. So I decided I was done. So I packed up my stuff and write.
Yo, thanks for coming, guys.
I'm not disappointed at you, but
is this the joke you tell everybody?
No, it's special. A special one. I had to remember that one.
Yeah, I'm done.
It's hard because you want to say left so bad, but you're like, no. I packed up my stuff and write.
I don't know if you guys heard me before I left, but I had to use the bathroom. The flea is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I've seen it in person. I've held a part of it.
Oh yeah, I gave Julio one of the legs.
He touched it.
Go home, Dad.
Freddie, where you been?
Freddie, you missed the whole entire roast session of you, bud.
Yeah, we went hard.
We went in.
All right. So
oh yeah, Nick, you got to start working on your dad jokes now. Now he's got the newborn. He's got to start working it.
I think unfortunately I have to make you guys suffer through this.
That's okay. That's okay, man.
Okay.
Do you want me to just share the pictures I do have of it?
What's that? I have a fucking ton, but it's up to you. Because I can go through and talk about how I did the whole thing or whatever. You can share what you want to share, and I can share more if it's important. How about that?
That sounds like a plan. All right,
let's look at the finished build so we can go
there.
There.
There's so much that I can show that it's
the
just
birth of how it came to be.
The pictures I do have are not of the finished thing, though.
That's okay. No. Show the work in progress, and then I'll show the finished thing when we.
There you go.
So,
holy fuck!
Oh.
So this was before I actually integrated an extra leg joint component into it. This was originally just like this. So you see the different parts that are cast. I made those all from iron-blooded orphan stuff, and I modified it all, and I made resin mold or silicone molds, and then resin casts.
So Brian had crabs confirmed.
Yeah, exactly, right. It does have kind of like a crabulon kind of feel to it, especially
at this point,
the eyes and stuff. Oh, it's so cool, right? But yeah, and then you can look in on the inside there. If you zoom in, you can see all these scratch belt pistons.
I do remember you.
Bro, I would buy
this.
a book of this shit.
I know that's what people say, but I'm not a book guy. I'm built.
No, you are a book guy. We've seen that library.
You literally married a book guy.
Well, I mean, Colleen's a book girl, but she doesn't want to write my shit.
She can totally put a book together.
Yeah, so inside there's also those are the shoulder outside shoulder boosters for the full city that I made from scratch and then made molds, and they also integrate to the whole kit. It all fits together because I'm crazy. But then those were just like different piston components that I made to try and get the whole thing, and then that works into later where I actually add springs inside the pistons to give them like springy, so they can actually stand up.
That functionality.
It's on all the legs. It's on the legs.
Yeah.
Dude,
so
what the fuck, man?
They look pretty good right now. This was like week 1, so this is just getting started.
I remember before you started moving into this territory, you were doing the Gushan backs to make
all my spare parts and get stone and just try to
exactly.
channel my Brian.
I had to change the tops because I had made them wrong and they weren't able to integrate these other components to give me the inside down. So what that gives you is actual there are 2 Vidars and 2 Barbatos fifth form upper thighs, and then the knee components that tie into the leg, which is actually flipped upside down, and then has the heel connecting into the bottom of the knee, and then the knee connects into the shoulder joint or the backpack shoulder joint of the upper part of the Gusian, and then that goes down into the outer wing, which actually has cool vents like molded into the bottom of it. So that's kind of like, it gives me that cool. And then here it's standing under its own weight. So this is no extra pinning, gluing, or anything. It's all just standing under its own plastic weight right now, which is actually pretty impressive.
So this is really impressive. What fucking impresses me about this is like this little pile right here. This little pile of things that he was making the pistons from. Look at this. Look at that pile. And there's more in this little
fucking pistons, dude.
Well, the pile outside the cup is the rejects. The pile inside the cups are the promised children.
You get bags. Then you get bags of them now.
Yeah, here you go.
Straight up. Yeah, and there's some pistons.
What?
So those are 3 of the 4 pistons, and then those are all made to have with the idea of functionality in mind. So they all have gauges on them, the little round parts. If you can kind of see that, you zoom in on there. They're little round gauges components that get put into it, and then everything is banded and built to be like an actual piston head, so like a controlling valve and sensors.
You got the valve for the hydraulic fluid to come through.
Yeah, exactly. That, yeah, for the
booster pack on the side. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point right there.
Straight up.
I've been trying to tell Brian that for a while.
I know. I should. I have nothing but time on my hands right now. I'm just been busy building the Sentinel.
Do everyone, including myself, that and it'll love me a long time.
So this is like late stage leg here. Mm-hmm. This is after I added styrene and then epoxy putty components to the top, and then made extra housing components for the hoses that are like the hoses that like fit through there. Yeah. You can see that piston is integrated into the elbow joint, the inside elbow of the upper part of the arm, of the leg for that matter. I eliminated the upper piston because it was getting in the way, and then made the leg have a little bit more functionality. And then on the outside of the lower leg, I clipped the outside of the molded part that I made, and then added this vernier component from the Macross 1 to 72nd sale super parts set to give it that boost on the outside, and then backfilled all of that with epoxy putty and then sanded it all smooth. And then what you don't see here is later I went in and I added styrene components that I custom made, these like custom trussed out styrene components, and like scribed all those shits out and made like 20 of them shits, and then like fucking glued them all on the outside to give it extra structure and depth components, so that it's not just a big fat slab of plastic that you sanded smooth, so that it has like some
layers.
Yeah. Like
fuck. Holy fuck.
Oh yeah. Dude. So this was the scoopers on the top there. As you can see, I took a couple scoopers and I fucking glued them shits together, and I took another couple and I glued them, and then I fucking cut that whole thing out and then stuck that shit down on top. Yeah, and then this was after I skipped doing the 2-headed. So originally it was going to be a 2-headed dragon with both of those Gusian bodies as heads and have these like big mouths on the bottom, and it was going to be a 2-headed dragon like fucking breathing fire on everybody. But I didn't like it. So I turned it around and was like, oh shit, that's what it should be.
Yeah, get that different perspective.
Yep. And then here I have added on that one Kotobukiya component.
Total kid.
Out about that one, the canopy that everybody lost their minds over. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I started adding in some Star Wars parts here. I made some custom venting. If you zoom in on that, Pabs, made some custom venting there out of some styrene components that I went and ended up backfilling here on the 2 sides. Over on the left and the right of this like canopy component, they're like white ribbed areas. Yeah. Right, and then that behind that's the Gusian Frogman back skirt on both sides that like scoops back on both sides of the head. Right, and then so those made these big air vents to kind of like pull in air for what I thought would be the brain of the whole unit, which would be the back of the body. So if you go to the top of that kit up here, Pabs, you can see where the brain is starting to form, and then that is made from Bandai Star Wars stuff, right? Yeah. So that is the Death Star attack set. Death Star joint, yeah. Right? Yeah, exactly. So I took those, and same thing in the front there. The ocular part is from the Death Star.
Mm-hmm. That's the porthole.
This is all impressive, Brian, but I want to know about this guy.
The Turn X.
What, the Turn X? Yeah,
random Turn X.
Yeah, Turn X is
a double feature, guys. Double feature.
God,
we need the Turn X.
Well, no, because I'll often snap build kits while I'm doing these custom things to kind of like
break it up.
You know? So, yeah.
All right. So if you want to show the last, the final, like the
final
photos, that was the last one I have.
Oh, okay, cool. 1 second.
I gotta get some good photos of my Physalis.
Yeah,
dude, that was a journey seeing all that shit. I got flashbacks of fucking goddamn. Fuck Gunpla. Go work on the next like alien movie or some shit. Fuck Gunpla, dude. Go work on the next like xenomorph mother god ship they need made or some shit, dude. What the fuck? Making pistons that actually have functionality.
Dude, I haven't even gotten into it yet.
Fucking hell, dude. I'm just over here fucking slopping shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
God damn.
So this is gonna be I'm gonna go through this one kind of fast, and you guys will zip past a bunch of photos, but bear with me.
For those kids at home, you can always hit the pause button if you want to stare at a picture a little longer.
Exactly.
But
So
wait
what
till
this
the repeat.
is,
Don't do it while it's live.
this is 4 plates of the
Death Star
Star Wars kit that
Yeah.
I made dump molds of, right? Like this. So basically, Tim Harkins style dump mold. It's not Tim Harkins style. It's just a fucking dump mold, but he has shown it in explicit. So basically, I just took these 4 guys, I glued them down to a thing, and I poured a bunch of silicone on them to make a replication of them. So what I do is I pour partials.
Hold on, Brian. Look at the recent comment from Gaia.
People keep trying to do things as whole. You got to think about using things in parts. So how are you not a set prop builder in Hollywood? I've been doing prop work for 10 years now, just for fun, and it's hard to get into the industry, honestly. That's why I haven't been doing it. And it's hard I can't move to California. I got to stay on the East Coast, so that's the hard part too. Work on the next Mad Max, that'd be pretty tight, wouldn't it? Let's see, where am I? Here? No, I'm not here.
Do you have any extras of those, Brian?
Here. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Why make one when you can make
all of them?
I'm gonna need some of these. I'm gonna need a little bit of these.
Holy shit!
Oh, this is just
incredible.
Yeah, it's a ton. So
yeah, no Star Wars kits have a lot of details in them.
Man. Really good clean casts.
Moving on to it, it needed a main weapon, and I was originally going to make it kind of a scout, so I added these like puzzle model kits to them, and I had to like make them symmetrical, so I cut them apart and I redesigned them so that they fit on both sides.
Chris, you won't get judged on the pieces that are 3D printed.
Yeah, you won't get disqualified for it. They're just
they won't judge
those
that.
pieces.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how that's possible considering they're part of the kit, but yeah, that's neither here nor there.
And so here on the front, you can see that I've added these. I assume I'm still showing it, right? Yeah,
this,
good. Okay, good.
This like the way it is right now at this stage would live so well in like a Terminator movie, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hands down, like
T-7600.
So these are the
chaotic droidica.
These clear parts are actually the action parts for the Turn X. Right,
the arms.
And the action arms for the Turn X, right? And then I modified those by adding in down here on the base. You can't really see it where I'm circling my mouse, but there I added in a styrene component that was just custom that it fit into. So I made a custom receiver for the joint part to fit in and then sit. And then what I ended up doing to make that shit look cool, yeah, you can see it there on the back. You can see the little styrene part that comes up to a little hub that thing pops right into. Oh, look at webcam in the background there. Here we go, and then we get these backpack components. So those are the bodies for the Goosian body, and then a bunch of resin components and some Kshatriya parts and some Star Wars parts, and then 2 legs from a Kamaris because I bought 2 more Kamaris because I can't have enough of those. And
I need one.
Yeah. Oh, there's my list because I have lots of lists. There's your Freddy's roll maker, right? And then that made hoses. So I started adding details. These are other details that you don't really see unless you get deep underneath the skirt of the machine. So these are sides where you see these 2 points that are pointing out at you are the lower hips, so the lower leg components where they tie in. So this is a Sinanju leg component here. Looks like an action part or a add-on part of a plate back here in the back with some styrene components. There's an actual spring back there in the back that actually holds these 2 parts apart. The 2 legs actually are sprung loaded.
Nice. So there's actually true function in your kit.
Oh no, that's the kit you're not supposed to see. So there's.
I'm gonna interrupt you real quick, Brian. Joel has to bounce real quick.
I do gotta head out, guys. Like,
no. Let me skip ahead to the end, and then you can look at the thing.
Let's look at the finished thing, and then we'll cut it a thing. But I want to thank Joel for joining us because it took 2.5 hours of his time.
I know,
to hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me on. This shit's dope as fuck, man. This is like, this is exactly like what we were doing, and it's just fucking awesome because there's more people doing it. Yeah, and it's happening. Like, I'm so excited for this shit to be like a thing again. Like,
we're growing our culture.
Yes.
Yeah, if we can spread this around, man, that would be amazing. If people start doing more of this, I mean,
I really enjoy that. This is our culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really, really nice.
God damn.
Hell yeah.
Brian's like photo 2604.
Journal log hour
Yeah, if you wanna
5000.
I'm telling you, your work in progress photos are enough to make a book out of. Oh my gosh! And I
God.
flag.
in my hands.
So there's
Yeah,
that was the piece as it was entered into GBWC.
because you didn't have the base for OMC.
I had the base, but it wasn't fully snowed out, and I didn't have any of the decals. None of it was oil rendered, and I actually had to go back through and do a bunch of paint mod on it.
Still won.
Also, the standard wasn't included. This upper standard component here.
Oh yeah, you added that.
And all that. That was all made after the fact.
Killed it. Absolutely killed it.
So beautiful, man. Seriously. Fuck.
Games Workshop wish they could make some bullshit like this. They can't touch it.
It makes me real sad.
Boxy looking big robos.
Fucking hell, dude. All right. Well, I came about 5 times during this, so
He's calm down.
Yeah, the
I'm
OMC
all out.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, Joel, man.
Appreciate it.
Cheers, mate.
If you ever want to be on again, man, just let me know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. See you guys.
Yeah, I love, again, like this scratches my technical itch, because not only is it aesthetically pleasing, but there are so much functioning technical little doodads put in that makes sense. It's not just a piston; it's a piston with a booster and a hydraulic pump. It's a piston with this. It's like, when I first saw this, I was like, oh my god, the level of technical influence and real mechanisms that are implemented in this. I was like, this is overwhelmingly delicious. Like, look at that. It's got a clamp on it and everything.
That
like,
crooked detail really pisses me off.
In the real world.
It looks so. It is crooked, yes, but it almost looks like it was done on purpose. Like it was somebody just needed to put that on real quick.
Yeah, it looks kind of real. Like I tried to paint these elements up here, and that the hoses and the elements, like the leads on the mechanics inside here. I tried to make those sort of realistic. Paint the hoses different colors, then you paint the base arm or the base metallics, and then add different washes to things.
And this is all glued in too, so this is a very difficult area to get all that color separation in.
Yeah, no, it's all
masking it. Yeah.
He made, what was it, 6,000?
6,700
and something.
It was actually like 7,800 and something dots, I think, total.
There's a video on his Instagram of him super fast going through most of it.
It's like
And layers.
Here's a good view of the inside of that arm. So this is a Kshatriya, you're right. Everyone's familiar with that, right? The Kshatriya inner part with the funnels, and then up here we have a major kit bash component, which is some Star Wars things. Another weird, whatever the fuck that is with that, like whatever the hell that. What is that? I don't even know what that's from, but I had 2 of them. So there you go.
It's the mega decals.
Yeah, a bunch of mega decals on there and a bunch of other randos. Yeah, and then like weird styrene parts, and then more hoses, and these are some metal components on the inside there with the knurled
you've got the thread lock stuff from a car.
Yeah, master car. Yeah, and then like those are all just regular wires, like just insulated wires. Yeah, all that weathering that's all super blown out from being super close to the image.
Fucking amazing.
Seriously. Yeah, it's good stuff, right? I tried to do so this is like this is heat shrink up here on top of this. So I tried to do it so it looked like the leather wraps, the dust wraps that go on the outside of the mechanic. So yeah, I did it up here on the top too. You can kind of see it up here at the very top.
Yep, right at the body.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Kyle knows. Yeah, so try to make it military and functional and smart and crazy all at the same time.
It works.
Yeah,
it fucking works. Yeah,
all the hoses and just like if you're gonna have like a cable with like trailing some stuff, it needs to tie itself down.
Have it floating out there.
Yeah, exactly. And everything needs a tie down. Everything needs a rivet. I added like 600 or 700 rivets to it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The Flea heavily inspired what I was doing with Famine. I was like, I want to take that functionality that Brian did with the Flea and put it in Famine for my Horseman build. I was like, I can't just put things that look cool mechanically. They have to make sense.
This
like
piece,
Brian had set the bar so high. It's like I want to be at that level. I want to do that level of custom work where it makes sense and also is phenomenally like good looking.
There's a reason.
So inspirational. Like
there is a reason why. Oh, sorry, Julio. Go ahead.
I'm saying it is a severely inspirational piece. Like
there is a
want to build stuff.
There is a reason why I put myself first before
And now we're gonna have Pam's on.
And now I feel bad for who's coming up next. So
each one of these, each one of those little dots is all added on extra. Those are all rivets that I laid by hand purposely.
Now, did you cut rod, or did you actually
I cut those rods by hand with a fucking number 11 X-Acto because that's my blade of choice. I love these like underskirt shots. You don't get to see all the the gritty,
all the the nitty little details.
Give me the guts.
And like I was saying earlier, these are all kit bash parts from other Gunpla kits, but because they work so well together, it's really, really hard to pinpoint them and pull them out. Like if you're looking at unpainted, it's a little easier because they have their original colors. But here you're like, oh shit, that's a Kshatriya pod missile from the Underfoot. Oh shit, that's But if you're looking at overall, they work seamlessly together where they don't stand out like that. And that takes a very finite skill to be able to take parts, mash them together, and then make them their own cohesive thing. And you don't just like, oh yeah, that's a binder from this kid, that's a binder from that kid. Casual, you have to stress your eyes to go, oh yeah, that's the skirt from an IBO kid. Oh shit, okay.
As much as I want to keep
kill me.
Yeah, as much as I want to keep talking about this build, we have a few others that we need to go through.
He closed out everything. He closed the whole window.
Oh, Jesus. We'll wait for him to come back. But I mean, at least we can talk about the next build. But
I'm entering OMC this year, and I'm just staring at the fleet. I'm staring at it.
Right notes.
Yeah. Brian definitely went all out in that thing. Fucking phenomenal. There is a reason why he's back.
Hey, look at that. Hey, this guy.
But yeah, as I was saying, phenomenal.
I was like, no, close the windows. I'm sorry.
You don't need any of us to tell you how great of a job that thing was.
That's cool. I'm sorry. I talked too much about myself. I feel bad.
No, not at all.
No, okay, it's really good for other people to see the work in progress, though, because to see how you got to where you were, which everyone, for the most part, have seen the fleet. If you haven't, you have now.
Yeah, right. Or you see the end of it. Nobody sees the beginning.
I love work in progress photos because it helps you see the thought process, because that's the hardest part. Like, oh, how did you do that? Until you know how they did it, it's really hard to fathom what's possible. And once you fathom it, it's like, oh my God, I could do that. That's not that, over the top. Like that seems very doable. And you can then replicate it in your own way.
The money shot's always nice, but getting there.
That's the big thing.
It's a long journey,
Now, I was going to say, I feel bad for the guy that is following up that build.
But we're going to give him our all either way.
Oh, one thing I want to say real quick before we
everything we gave
Miami's.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ungawa, you're absolutely right. Buying the dots would have been a huge waste. I spent I did the research on it. Okay, so doing like sub 8,000 dots, right? It would have cost me like $400 or $500 in masking dots. It cost me $7 in masking tape to do that with the time, right? So I made the punches by hand. They're just brass tube, and you just sharpen the end of the file. Doesn't matter the size. You pick the size. It's totally chill. You just have to resharpen your shit and just put in the work, and you get faster, you get better, and you learn a lot. So yeah, and you save the fucking bucks, man. I'm not made of money.
$400 or $500.
Nobody pays me to do this. I do this.
$7 to $400 or $500. Yeah, $7 for sure.
All right, so
it's crazy.
All right, so
let's go ahead and let's talk about Gunpla Miami's
Miami.
He is at Gunpla_in_Miami on Instagram. Is that the same for your Twitch, Gunpla Miami? Just let me know or let us know in the comments here.
Yeah,
And let's go ahead and talk about. He said, let me go ahead and just pull up the actual photo and then talk about the description, because that makes a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And bam, there we go.
Oh no.
Oh
yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this. So he says, I wanted to make a ground type Yagadogo for my build fighter themed diorama. I also wanted to change the overall stance of the mobile suit, so I moved the shoulder shields to custom arms and the backpack. And then I don't know if we're going to talk about the exact diorama itself, but let's talk about the Yagadoga first, and then see where that conversation takes us, and then
So again, color contrast, very well done. You got the light green, darker green, and the oranges and the black all work together very seamlessly. And obviously, there's some grays mixed in with the framing and the hose and stuff. Very well done. And I have to pay tribute to the panel line work.
There's a ton of panel line
work, and it's complementary. It's not just there for there. Like, it makes sense. It flows from top to bottom. I know sometimes that's a really hard thing with people, is maintaining the consistency of their design, because sometimes you centralize on parts. This is an issue. Like, all of the panel lines make sense throughout, and they maintain that same design.
Yeah, I agree. I love your colorway here. Like, the colorways here for the Yagadoga, amazing. Like, I really enjoy, like, the two-tonal green with your grays and the pops of oranges here and there. Is it just breaks it up just like really, really well. So you're looking at this thing, and your eyes are moving towards it. But as you're looking at the oranges, you're also getting hints of the detail that you've added to this thing with with your scribing and all that stuff. So really well done, really well complementary. There are a couple of things that I noticed as I was looking through this thing in this first photo. One of the things that stuck out to me was you've got like a couple of surface imperfections, like right in the front and center of your kit, and that was one of the things I noticed straight away.
Yeah.
And then you also have, you may or may not, I'm not sure, you may have forgotten to clean up some of the panel lines in the middle here. I'm not sure if that was washed or not, or...
Seems like a little holiday on top of the gray hash there too, the gold bleeding over a little bit.
One thing I noticed is some of your panel lines aren't consistent in symmetry. Like, some are wider, some are smaller than the other ones.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
That's
a lot of panel line too.
Yeah, between these two skirts, you can tell the line isn't identical. Like, one runs parallel, the other one is a little bit off on angle.
Yeah, that's one of the toughest things to do with custom scribing is symmetrical things. So I'm not sure how you went about doing this, but usually for for me anyway, essential tools for symmetrical scribing is a compass, like a 2-needle compass, some masking tape, and you can also create like a jig for this shape. I mean, a jig would have been very simple to make for a shape like this. All you would really have to do is, if I go back to the photo, make this shape right here, like this middle part, and then from then on, like, all you have to do is measure up the distance between this middle piece, and then flip it, do it here, and then you'll know exactly where you put this bottom scribe up here and all that stuff, and you'll get that symmetrical immediate.
Yeah, they're just a little bit off, just a hair. It reads well. It reads good from a distance. Like
on the legs, like the left leg is a bit wider than
now. I noticed on the shield, if we go to the right.
1 second, Kyle. Julio, what were you saying?
The width of the panel on the right leg, the right leg is smaller than the one on the left leg. It's off slightly, but
very, very slightly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Kyle, you were saying?
So the shield here is another note too. He's got overscribe, and that could be from how you did the order of your lines. What I do typically when I have like multi-lines intersecting one another, I purposely layer the tapes in a certain pattern to prevent that from happening. So like the tape will act like a stop to prevent me from missing the line, essentially. So what you did was you may have had some dyno tape fill in the interior of that.
It's a model
part of the model.
Is it really?
Part of the model, really?
It's molded in, kind of.
Oh, well then disregard.
Interesting.
It's molded in, buddy.
That's and wow, so those stickouts are intentional.
Yeah, on the shield, yes, those overdraws, what you would call it, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, those are actually molded.
They are symmetrical, so that makes sense.
Into the thing, man. Yeah.
Completely disregard.
No, but I hear what you're saying.
With
No,
egg on
but
my face.
it's a super valid point, though, Kyle. It's a
Yeah, it
super
is
valid
true.
point,
Yeah. So use
it's
use
really
masking tape
easy.
or
Yeah,
not
when you're doing
masking
your
tape.
own stuff to come over just a hair, a little bit, like, you know, and fill it in with super glue if you do. It's okay. Just like, and then chase it back. You're good.
But let the tape be your friend on. Now, looking at a lot of your lines, you don't have that issue, so you probably already bring that into practice. But for those that are just getting into panel lining, use your tape to help you prevent problems. Really weird butchered manner of saying that, but yeah, even if you're not going to carry the line across the other tape, you can still put something there as a dead stop when you draw a line, so that you don't go off on it.
Or the other way would be to start from one end, come in, and then start from the other end and come in.
Yep. Yeah, that's another method.
Over.
Yeah, to prevent. Well, and then when you reach a corner, don't take the line. Or take the line to the corner, but when you start the next line, don't start immediately at the corner. Start ever so slightly off, work, and then as you go deeper, then take the corner. That way you don't have that blowout at the corner or the blow in, whichever direction it ends up going. That's a little trick to kind of. I inch my way to the corner rather than immediately starting where the last point left off and carrying the line. I go off a little bit, take it. Then after I'm gone a pass or two, then I'll hit the corner and take it the rest of the way. It's how you get those crisp. Real.
So for some reason we're getting delays on like the chat. So Compliant Miami is saying he's using lots of glue and he's taking notes right now. This was his third attempt at scribing.
Okay. Yeah, really good. Yeah. And I've learned the more you do it, especially on one kit, you'll actually see yourself progress. I mean, on my Zosby, that was the first one where I went ham with scribing, and I started from the bottom and worked my way up, and you can literally watch my progression in one kit. That's why I always tell people, when you're practicing scribing, stick to one kit and do it throughout the entire kit and watch yourself get better. You'll start getting a grasp for how the lines go. You'll start fixing your mistakes and not repeating them as you go further. Don't just take one part and then scribe it. Take a kit and scribe it, and then watch yourself get better at it.
One thing I would suggest is, so I'm looking at, your scribes look, honestly, they look very good. They look very clean. Try messing around with different widths. They are all the same width, and looking at it,
weight.
Right. Yeah. So it's all different weights, and having different weights really helps break up the fact that these are all different panels. And they do look like that right now, just with the one. However, it just gives it more depth. Having different lines, because there might be different fits and stuff. So
let's see if you guys can see this. So on this back skirt, this would be a prime example. So on this back skirt, there are two different widths. Let me get with that clear. There we go.
I think we know what I'm buying Kyle for Christmas.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to say that gives you that dimension.
A lamp or a camera?
There you go, Kyle. There you go.
See that where that's one thickness, and then everything else is the other thickness, and that just is as simple as that. That little notch gives your piece more depth on the panel line.
Mm-hmm.
But those little details will really kind of step up an area with very minor work involved.
Different weights. Yeah. You jump up a couple of points, and it blows the whole line nice.
If you just like if you took your design right now and just made a couple of lines just different width, man. If you say took this one right here and made it slightly thicker than the rest of them, or maybe even slightly thinner, like it just gives it like more visual appeal. Like it gives it like this is interesting. This looks good.
I mean, because look at the line. So the line across the back skirt that goes horizontally, parallel to the orange, a little. 2 millimeter line, that one, you could make that one thick, and every other line with that, and just that little change really brings some depth to that piece.
That's what I just said.
Is that what I wasn't thinking? I'm sorry. Well, that's how important it is. Two people said the same thing.
Here on the back of the leg, Chris, I'm sorry, sorry to interrupt, Chris, but here in the back of the leg, I feel like there's a missed opportunity right here at the lower below the knee. right? I mean, you can see a little bit of a holiday on the back of that knee where the gold kind of bleeds over by your cursor there. But at the back of the knee here on the bottom on the left and the right side, I feel like there's a little bit of a missed opportunity with the panel line to really help sell the molded in details where like on the one side it looks kind of dark, but I believe on the other side it looks kind of light. And so it kind of washes out. Yeah, there you go. It washes out that line. It washes that out a little bit, which is just like, it's just kind of one of those oopsies kind of things. Nothing to like stress over. But like that little bit is like could help, pull it out a little bit more and sell it. It's a little dirty wash on there and a little bit of
and these RE kits, they don't have those fine details in the frame, so that would really have.
Did you act like is this texture on purpose? Because I know he's in the chat. Like, was this texture on purpose at all? Because like I'm not 100% sure, especially with your decal application.
Yeah, it doesn't really mesh well with the decals.
I like the texture, but I feel like the decals are a little bit miss.
Yeah, like that's a ton of silver, and I'm guessing that's because of how the surface is from this
underneath.
Texture.
But you could use a crazy solve and fucking just like melt the shit out of that.
But then you worry about it.
Oh, so it just sprayed that way?
No, the texture was not intentional.
Okay, so I'm curious to see what you did here to get that effect.
Because it looks good. I'm not gonna lie, it looks like kind of like a hammered metal kind of finish, a little bit.
Yeah, it does look handmade. One thing at the bottom of the back skirt, if you would have that thruster bell at the bottom there, if you would have just hit it with some orange, I think it would have sold the back even more.
Make it pop.
Yeah, more
we never would have noticed any of the other things we complained about.
Yeah, we would have complained. No, but I mean, this is like a very good.
Yeah, very well done.
I like the little heat sink addition you added there.
Yeah, me too.
To really sell that, I would have said to remove that piece of armor and then put something underneath that piece of armor and then place that heat sink just to give it like depth.
Attractive.
That's in there, yeah.
Oh right,
like it's like a sandwich between the heat.
Yeah, you could have scribed around that too to give it that depth.
Yeah, outline scribe. That's Tim's go-to, and I swear by it too. It really gives.
Direct outline scribe and then offset outline scribe as well. Create a shroud or a panel.
So it's like a functioning panel.
Hell yeah, man! Wow, that's great. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
we taught Brian something.
So my thing too is on the thrusters.
Just because I don't like, I learned a new thing. Like, what the fuck? Come on, like I'm learning stuff all the time.
Everyone learns.
I also like how you move those shields to the back.
Yeah. So that's normally on the shoulder, right? Correct?
Yeah. They're weird on the shoulder too. They look way better off the backpack.
Yeah,
absolutely. Look at that.
Yeah, I like how you replace the connection with a little detail part there.
Yeah.
Yo, dude. Hell yeah.
Really cool. Really cool.
Kudos. This shit's good.
Yeah.
I will say also that the Jag-Dogga, I love the funnels. Done.
Mm-hmm.
I really like your decal placement. Like it's it's not like overtly done.
It's not too busy.
Yeah, it's not too busy, but it's in some good spots. I think
it's tasteful. It's nice.
Yeah,
it's really well done. So, Paz, you mentioned that there's a diorama.
I did. Do you guys want to talk about the diorama?
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Might as well.
Might as well if I can find it. let me grab it real quick. For now, let me just.
Good greens, man. Very good greens.
Yeah. Useful rifle on that because it's not the standard rifle. The standard rifle is wholly different than that.
Yeah, I think it's a different. It looks like a Sananju.
Yeah, no, that or the Zazabee's shotgun rifle thing.
The shotgun.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up again real quick so you can see it.
Is it for the OG or for the? I just was dorking around with one of those the other night on stream. Did you like the knee covers? What do we miss on the knee covers?
Oh, they were rounded down.
Those aren't stock.
There aren't any. They don't have any.
No.
Yeah.
So you added those.
Like those. You know what?
It looks seamless.
That is a testament to how fucking good you did because we didn't even notice that wasn't part of the fucking build, bro.
Yeah.
That is good shit.
Yeah. It fits really, really well. I didn't know.
I'm a strong believer that it's the little things that goes the furthest way.
Wing zero.
Wing. Okay, yeah, it's from the upper part of the wing, upper knee.
I mean, I noticed. I noticed a little detail he added in the back skirt, like right in the back of the back waist or whatever. Like that little like a ribbed armor detail is really really nice addition. But I miss these knees, dude. Right, fuck on. It's their wings, zero shoulder.
Again, seamless. You've completely executed a kit bash when you seamlessly have parts, and you're like, oh shit, we didn't even think about it. If I didn't have a side by side, a stock Yagdoga and this one, I would have never known that because it just works so well with the entire kit.
Yeah, the knees are from the Wing Zero. Yeah, pretty cool, man.
Did you do anything with the shoe horns of the feet? I'm trying to think like how it is stock wise.
Those are straight up. They're stock, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that's one of the more detailed REs.
It is. It's weird. It's weirdly detailed and not detailed at the same time.
Yeah. So like, it's such a weird offset.
Let me show you guys the best image he gave us, which is this one right here.
The dynamic. Oh, I love that for scale.
Perspective.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And even the background too. That white, not white background, because it shines in the right spot and is shadowed in the right spot.
This gives me. Sorry, Brian.
No.
This gives me everything I need to know about this kit. Like if you had submitted this for like a competition, or if you submitted this for Bandai's Hobby Open, and used this photo as your cover photo, this gives me everything I need to know. This has custom scribes. You kit bash the knees, like I can see your paint scheme, I can see your decal placements, and
modify the base kit.
Yeah, and as Kyle says, this gives you a sense of scale, and this gives you a sense of epicness. Like you are the pilot looking up at the suit, you're getting ready to enter this thing into a sortie. It's fucking awesome.
Because this is actually a big mobile suit. In itself, like it's like almost the size of a Zazubi.
And then Gunplay Miami says detail parts on the feet.
Okay, I was wondering because the very top shoehorn, I was like, I wonder if those vents were.
Yeah, they are. You're right. I missed it.
So, and then he's I'm gonna continue his description and says the diorama is supposed to be generating. The diorama is supposed to be generating a practice stage. The other suit is a custom MG Hyzak, which is meant to be the boss of the test stage.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and.
So we're sticking to the same universe too.
Yes. Let me go ahead and close this out real quick and then reopen it.
I do like this Hyzak. So I was scrolling through the photos. I was like, oh, Hyzak.
It's in my brain back here.
Xeon guy. What can I say? I like the Jag Dogga. Who'd have thought? Ugh.
Yeah, boy.
Nice.
I love the product placement right there, man.
A little shameless plug, no worries.
Hit that with the little matte spray next time. We'll be able to see it without the reflection.
Right. And then let's go ahead and wait. Is that a flea?
Actually, a matte spray matches the old 70s Cento Wave.
Oh, absolutely, vaporwave style. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So let's go. I have to go all the way back. Here we go.
Zing. Oh wow.
Oh, nice.
So it's supposed to be, if you guys watch Build Fighters or Build Fighters Try, it's supposed to be a stage starting to materialize through Plavsky particle dispersal, right? So that's right.
It's Plavsky particles? That's right?
No, it's Manassky. Manassky
particles. Manassky? I don't know. Plavsky, it's the same. What's up, Travis? How you doing?
Potato, tomato.
I say, you say potato, I say tomato.
I don't know what they're doing with Build Tryers Die or whatever the fuck it's called.
Build Try Fire, yeah. It's that thing. That
Build Tryers Die.
Yeah. Build Fighters Try. So he didn't give us too many photos of this thing, but I would have loved to have seen more, honestly.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a great idea with the LEDs. This is LED, yeah. The LED and honeycomb, and then it does look like as if it is materializing. And it's fucking cool, man. I would have liked to seen how you would have implemented the Yagadoga into this. Did he say he was gonna implement the Yagadoga? Right?
Yeah, because he's entering a test stage.
Yeah. So I would have loved to have seen how this would have been implemented.
I think it would have been cool if the Yagadoga was coming in, like he's almost flying into the test stage.
Yeah.
Or whatnot, because then when it give you a whole around 3D on the, because if he's just standing there, you're not utilizing the cool poses of the kits. So yeah, Pulaski particles. Or something.
I was correct. Plavsky particles. But yeah, so if I did watch a couple of episodes of Build Fires, and when they enter the stage, they come in through this weird portal circle thing.
Yeah.
If you had made something like that kind of propped up, and then the Yagadoga is about to either enter or halfway through it, that would have been really cool.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah,
Actually, I haven't seen the new one, so yeah, my idea was somehow magically in the realm of how the show works. Look at that.
There you go.
It's a pretty cool dynamic setup too, because obviously the Hyzak and the Stowe and the rest of the thing is very static. Like, even though it's moving in the story arc, it's very static in imagery. So it would be good to offset that with the Yagdoga being in some action pose to kind of balance out the static placement. That way you get more of a I guess storytelling setup. Like, it completes the whole scope of your story with some little action poses and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would have loved a little bit more detail on these little men.
Yeah, you're gonna want to.
Yeah,
you want to
maybe some more
brown that up
rendering.
quite a bit.
Yeah,
it needs a lot more brown.
I would think too, some more shrubbage. That way, the transition between the ground and the building kind of have more of a smooth. It seems to block on soft.
I
think you want to have more embedded in a way.
I feel like the whole base needs some more hard edging on it, like some stark contrast in different spots. That's just me, maybe.
I was gonna say, maybe like, so if I go back to the picture, if you had removed like this part of the dirt right here and still had like the building materializing, so you had like a slight paint job of this honeycomb on part of this building, it would give it more of a sense of it more materializing in.
Yeah, so, that's a really cool idea.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, instead of just the land, the building too, so then it really drives home what's going on.
Yeah, that it's actually because you have. Right? Because you have something very similar going on to the Hyzak, right? So you've got like the blue hair, and it looks like it's materializing from the ground. To make it look like as if the ground is also materializing, you know, other elements of it would have should have
building stuff.
that kind of pattern and stuff like that. So just a few suggestions there on that.
And so when I say brown, so there's a theory out there that's been introduced many years ago. It's called brown it up. And the theory is like, if you want something to look real, you need to make it brown. So because everything is brown.
That's
everything
true.
That is dirty is like 100 different shades of brown. So I'm not saying like just paint whole tone brown opaque on top of that. I'm saying like add like washes and layers of different browns. Add a sepia, add a umber, add a dark umber, add a whatever, a sienna, add a burnt sienna. Throw in little bits and then throw them all around and mix them up and put some clear and do it again a bunch of times. And what you're going to end up doing is you're going to build up this like opacity of age that is going to make it look older. But with this one, I get like you're dealing with it being like a materialization through like the field and all this and that and the other for the series, the game or whatever. So maybe don't do it on the whole thing. Maybe just like get that to trickle down economics from the top where it's like fully rendered to where you're talking about where perhaps like it's being still digitized. And then that is going to win you some serious shit if you want to win shit. And if not, you're going to feel hella proud. I'm going to feel hella proud because that's awesome.
So especially around the vegetation and stuff, you would definitely have brown there because.
So what Brian is trying to say is if you wanted to imitate real life, put more poo-poo color on it. Because life is
poo up your builds if you want some realistic. Put the poo-poo platter on your builds.
But yeah, this is really nice, dude. This is a really great idea.
So for
I like
the Hyzak being materialized in, I'm just thinking here, you can do a gradient of blue and white on the bottom of him to look like he's being lit up. You know what I mean?
So that's similar to the building, right?
Yeah, similar with but just like a lighting tone, like what do they call it? Starts with an M.
Modulation.
Modulate, on the bottom. Thank you, Kyle.
Kind of give it like what Brian did with his sword on the Zaku Warrior.
Yes.
Kind of give it that glowing highlight.
Gunfly Miami, research mini painting techniques like that kind of gradation would be really helpful for showing off or stuff like this. Yeah,
the
highlight blending. I think it was they call it something.
Just paint. Just work up like mini painting glow, just like that. It'll teach you how to glow it up.
Yeah, Really
that
good
will
stuff,
look
man.
really, really nice at the bottom of that.
And that technique can be used for if you're doing like beam saber cuts. You can similarly do the same style to match the scored item too.
Yeah.
So it's just different colors.
Yeah,
you're dealing with like overexposing, essentially, like teaching or tricking your eye to overexposing a color and creating a glow from that.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Deserve.
Thank you,
Zen
Hagrid.
glow.
If you want some great
Zen-Glow
tips,
is spotlighting.
if you want some
can do
great
it
tips on,
modulation.
It'll come from underneath.
Yeah,
if you want some great tips on mini painting, one of our own is doing like a mini painting kind of session on Wednesdays. Wet Palette Wednesdays with one Clip and Nubs, Church of Chooch.
The Church of Chooch, I like that.
So yeah, if you guys, if they don't really cover mini painting per se, but but it's mostly hand painting and it's more, what is it, like, mostly talking through what you guys are doing, right?
Yeah.
So it's more of a hangout session.
If you have questions, they will answer them though.
Yeah, learn and grow.
Right,
So,
exactly. It's not just answering questions; it's like asking questions too, like sharing ideas, spitting, hanging out. That's it. Just hanging out. That's what any of these things are. Like with us on Tuesdays, we're building and we're showing what we're doing. We're doing the Zaku thing. We're hanging out.
Building.
Yeah, well, some of us are building, but we're hanging out. And it's not like I know more than you. I'm here doing my thing, and every night I do the same thing. If you want to hang out, please come by, because I like to hang out with you guys. So, not just these guys, but you guys out there in TV land.
Yeah,
and the interwebs.
But yes, Gunpla Miami, great work, dude. I want to see how
phenomenal.
I'm really curious to see how the Yagadoga integrates with this diorama. Because I mean it's very two starkly different builds, so that'd be really cool to see.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah,
good
bro.
shit, man.
I look forward to it. It's like psyched. Looks good.
Yeah. Excellent. All right, so we are, where are we at? 2:49. So we're good on time. We have like what, 2 or 3? Yeah, 3 more to go. Oh god.
No, we don't. We do.
Yeah, we do.
Really?
Actually, we might only have 2 left. I'll double check on that as we go along. So let's go ahead and go on to the next one. Now this guy is not a stranger to the show. He has been a part of the show from the very beginning. I think.
Yes, I love repeat offenders.
Which is this guy right here. His Instagram is @Gunpla Mr. Miguel Crespo. I know he's in the comments. I'm not sure if he's there still or not, but thank you again for submitting, man. Really appreciate that. And as I go ahead and try to share his build and then talk about his description, if I click on the right window, that'd be cool.
His hand's failing him right now.
My hands are failing.
What's going on?
Listen, it's not easy being this breezy, okay?
Come on, Trebek.
There we go.
There we go.
All right, so the build name and background of this thing is the MG Thick Boy with 2 C's. Yeah, and I'm gonna quote him. This is my most ambitious build yet. 6 months into painting kits, I tried to apply a new skill set or technique with every build, and with this one, I wanted to learn how to scribe. In hindsight, choosing such an enormous kit was probably a bit risky, but it turned out pretty good. The inner frame was painted in a simple gray with a flat top coat. Minor details were hand brushed. The red parts were painted with gloss black under a coat of 4 variations of silver: GX208, GX213, Alclad Chrome, and Mr. Crystal Colored Diamond Silver, topped with Moto Clear Red and GX114 for the flat coat. It was my intention. What?
That's a huge bitch.
Huh?
Dude, it's a
comment.
Yeah, Chris posted it.
There you go. That's a huge bitch.
That bitch is thick.
Where was I? It was my intention to have some color separation with the red parts, hence the 4 silvers, but after applying the flat top coat, they seemed to blend all together. This was also my first kit that used water decals, and it shows how some broke during application or dried too fast in order to straighten out. About a third of the decals were applied directly onto the clear red paint, and it was only after talking to Chris _Pabs that I started applying clear gloss before and after the water decals, finishing with flat.
Straight up,
and
bro.
I'd appreciate any and all constructive criticism on it.
First off, watch your mouth. It came out great, man. You did a great job on this.
Yeah.
Really, really nice. I like
Brilliant.
Yeah, different reds, really, really, really nice.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
the different silvers.
So
And if I remember correctly, didn't he, when he was posting progress pictures, take note from what we had talked about in episode 1 and actually apply those techniques that he learned?
now, did he finish
That's
the
what I
picture?
love. It's one thing to ask for feedback, but when you actually listen to the feedback and it helps you and you then execute better work from it, that's the real completion of the circle.
So with the images that he had sent me, like I couldn't see the color separation because he sent me like the arms and the shoulders. I
Right.
was like, I
Yeah.
don't really see the
I saw
separation
those
here.
too. I think. Right.
You can see it in some areas, but it is very subtle. Very so. Like if you look at the front, the legs.
You can definitely see it here. So you
And
have
the
a darker red
knees,
hair,
yeah.
lighter red hair,
Yeah.
more of a apple red hair.
Yeah.
So it definitely shows, and this is kind of a taking the importance of a good photograph. This is a good photograph.
Mm.
You don't really see the head, but you see the details that's been added and
Yeah.
kind of pointed out to you by this image.
Yeah.
So well done to that. Well done in that aspect. And this came out, I think, pretty well.
Yeah,
Really great.
very clean.
Really great.
Yeah.
A lot of the things we had made mention in the past, I didn't see a lot of that as a repeat offense, which is really nice to see.
Yeah. So the goal is perfect. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, notice these are indoor photos too, guys.
Yeah.
No trees.
What's the next image right here? This is the butt photo.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I am noticing is, there's a couple of things that I noticed. So the first one being, like, I'm not sure if this is a lighting issue or not, but two sides of this thing are two different reds, right?
I think it's a lighting thing.
Yeah, that's good.
If that's a lighting thing, then that's
these colors are very light dependent, and that could make or break. And that again, as Pat was saying earlier, you want to be considering your photos. Like, dealing with these glossy metallic paints, especially with Alclide, their lighting, you get a completely different color. I remember, Pat, you were asking me, did I use a different red on Oscar? That was all lighting that forced that different shade in there. It's all the same red, same base and everything, but the lighting will give you a vastly different color if you have direct lighting versus off lighting indirect. So that's something that you have to kind of play to the weakness/strengths of the paint scheme.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, first of all, well done on trying to keep your scribe lines as symmetrical as possible. But you could try to keep it within, because there are some rough spots.
Yeah, that one's
there's a little chugging.
better than that one.
Yeah.
Rough. It's a healthy scribe, right?
Yeah, it's a healthy scribe. I think so.
Yeah.
It's the direction of the scribe is also quite important, depending on the plastic. So it's kind of hard to explain.
No, it has a grain to it. And
yeah, it's almost like
grain.
It's almost like wood. So it's like as you're going down, you can feel the plastic fighting you. And if it is bumpy like this, that's what you'll get. You'll get stepping. If you try to find the right kind of direction that you should be scribing at, and then help you to make that direction.
Angle of the chisel will play into that too. If you're doing too much of a direct pressure, you're not going to get a smooth, consistent line. So not only are you fighting the grain, but then you have that angle, and you two negatives that don't make a right in that situation. You may even be following the right grain, but if you're holding the chisel the wrong angle and you're applying pressure directly onto the piece versus distributing it across the cut, you end up with that as well. So
that's another thing too. Why don't apply pressure?
Yes, let the chisel do the work. It's sharp for a reason.
What you're looking at here is you're looking at the direct relationship between amount of pressure, the angle of the tool interacting with the surface plane, and then the surface tension from the force being applied, as well as the amount of pressure being pulled back. So you've got like at least four, probably 6 or 7 different things have been going into it, but the 4 major ones
forces across the y-axis,
the angle of your tool is, how much you're pushing down, how hard you're pulling back, and then the speed at which you're pulling back. So you can be pulling back with force but be going slow. You can be pulling back with force and be going fast. It's going to cause different things. This is normally called chatter in tooling or cutting, and what you're getting is the tool is what it's doing is it's building up pressure, and it's skipping because the surface pressure, like the curve, is hitting in the wrong spot. What you want is for it to be the proper pressure down and the proper pressure to pull, and that just takes time and practice.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
Good effort
apart from
because
that,
that's a bold scribe. Is why.
Yeah.
So
apart from that, man, for your did he say this was his first time scribing, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Just getting into it.
At this. Look at this thing. Like this was both very bold of you to do, like as your first scribing like kit, but it looks great, honestly.
Yeah.
You got some additional scribes on the skirts.
On this
scribes.
this front crotch right
I was
here.
going to say that too. Actually,
the inner arm,
the color pops,
up the thigh,
is real nice. Like the green, the blues, the color pops are really, really nice.
Yeah, I do like those little accents.
Yeah.
I really love nice. the diagonal striping on the tanks. It's like one of my favorite things in the world. Just the little detail on the
satisfying.
It's so nice. I love it. I don't know why.
One pictures right here.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I'm not sure if I believe these are not. So these are not metal parts.
No.
So really well done on the chrome on these verniers.
Yeah.
Really nice. And then obviously the blue. I'm sensing a bit of a pattern in terms of your color schemes, and I like it.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, it's really
there's no harm in having a style.
Yeah, otherwise,
and what you like to use for colors.
Otherwise, you'll never see a purple build from me again.
Yeah, the blue is nice, man.
Yeah.
All the color pops are really, really nice.
I kind of wish you had kept the blue in the visor in the head, because that type of green doesn't match the other greens that you've used in the kit, and it really stands out. And in my opinion, keyword on the opinion, it doesn't flow with the as an offset piece. Like I wish you would use maybe the similar green they use in the chest.
Like on
this is my take on that, because it's just like, that stands out, but it's not something you want to be drawn in on, but you are.
Yeah, you're saying, Julio?
Can you zoom in on the decals on the shoulder? For me, those decals would have sat in the panel line.
True.
Yeah. That's you got to use some saw to get that in there.
Well, not even that. Don't be afraid to cut your decals.
Yeah, cut them.
Yeah, that's true.
So place them on there, and then give them enough time to kind of grip the plastic a bit, and then just
nice sharp blade,
and then hit it with a microsol. Right?
And just let it sink in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And another thing you can use is a toothpick. You hit it with microsol, and then toothpick the line on the panel line. That'll help get it in there too.
Sorry, Kyle. What were you saying, Julio?
Opposite to what Kyle said, I like that the camera, the head cam is a different color. It stands out to me anyway.
So it's like an energy thing or a light thing.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, I see that. I love how glossy you got the black. That's a black, right? That's not a chrome.
Yeah,
it's a black.
That's like a base. Gloss black
base. I'm guessing that's it looks like.
He said he made some parts of the frame flat though, so that's a nice contrast.
Yeah. Like I mean, if I zoom into this neck, you can see it. There's the flat right there.
Yeah, right on the arm. It's the joint is flat, and then the panel is gloss. Like it looks really nice.
Well, yeah, and then the excuse me, and then the red is kind of a satin, right?
Yeah, the satin came out very nice.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
Really nice.
So certain parts in the inner framing of underneath the red, I feel like could have used a little panel line. Or a panel liner to stand out more, would have gave it like even more depth.
Mm-hmm.
It's just flat, and like there's no panel to it. You can't really see the depth in it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Please don't zoom in on the decals.
Let's zoom in on the decals. Which decals should we zoom into? No, this is where he was having trouble, right? So he was having trouble with kind of like the decal work. But I think you still. I mean, this looks
legit, dude. Applying straight to paint, dude.
Look at the rightmost decal on the butt.
On the booty, the SL1 or what?
Go up and to the right. I'm not sure if that's just the shading from the light.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a light thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, especially with
the yellow. And the yellow. I didn't want to.
It's the color underneath got affected by the decal settling.
Oh, I see what
you see. The patchiness.
Yeah.
I thought that was the light, but then it looked very pattern-like, and I was like, okay, so that's again we talked about it, but the application of the decal. Yeah, you want to put a clear coat.
Phenomenal though.
I made a note here about the yellow on those white components in the back skirt.
A little sloppy.
They're a little sloppy, but that's just like time, man. Like, don't I mean, like, I hear you. It's tough. It's tough. Trust me.
Yeah.
So many
I have a shaky hand too when it comes to those small ones.
Dude, I'm a mess when it comes to that stuff. I don't even know what to do. Like, my hands shake like crazy.
Yeah, the panel, the decal would be in the panel, and the panel line would be, shadowed or shaded.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Super truth.
I will say though that the satin on this makes me want to make a nice tall white Russian, get some comfortable clothes, and sit in a comfortable chair.
Read a good book.
Okay, a cigar.
I don't know about cigars. Colleen's allergic to nicotine, so.
So one thing
One
thing I'm gonna say
cigar.
one thing I'm gonna say not about the kit but the images itself. The photographs taken is it could use a little less of like the tech lines and all that stuff. Like if you just have your name on
Oh,
there.
you mean the framing, right?
Yeah, the framing of
Yeah.
it, like it doesn't. I don't really think it really needs it. If anything, it detracts from looking at the build itself. Something nice and simple, like nice simple text, the name of the build, and then your name, I think would benefit how you're trying to show your kit off.
Yeah,
more
display.
than this.
There's an acronym for that called KISS. Keep it simple.
Stupid.
Simplicity can be your best friend in anything you do. It may seem like, it's too simple. But no, you'd be surprised in most cases how much simplicity can really push something with little effort.
And the thing that I can make an example is whenever I post photos online, I never go any further than the name of the kit made by me or whoever, and who the kit was made from, who produced it. I try to keep it very simple, very kind of. I want the kit to speak for itself and not something that I'm pointing out. So so all this stuff I think is a little unnecessary, but I mean I get it; it's your style. But these images are
To add to Pabs' photo critique, the lighting should be consistent throughout. Some of it's a little bit overexposed. Some of it's like I don't know if you retouched it afterwards, but there's subtle gradation in the lighting throughout. I mean, maybe it's just me, but
It looks like he may have used natural lighting for some of these photos too.
Truth.
So he had like lighting throughout versus a direct light to work with.
I mean, what's nice is the direct stuff. I mean, this is a very nicely well lit image. So you can see, like the shadowing is maybe a little harsh, but it is straight on. So the you can see the shadowing is very even from the front all the way to the back. But then you kind of I'm guessing he was turning when he turned the kit, like he wasn't kind of adjusting the lighting to.
Yeah, he was moving the point of view.
Yeah.
POV.
Yeah.
You keep that lighting consistent. It's real nice. You don't even really have to touch it. Like that last one is overexposed.
Nope. I'll tell you a secret, Miguel, because I know you said you don't know how to take either take or edit pics. None of my pictures are edited. Not a single one. All I do is I put them in on the PC, and then I place the text image, and then I upload them. That's it. It's just all about making sure you have the framing, the lighting. It's a very simple process. And I would just look up product photography on YouTube. I also have like a very simple tutorial on Instagram. It's a very simple process, man, and I mean it'll take you like no more than 5 minutes to set everything up, have everything ready to go. So
and the lighting will stay really nice and consistent, really vibrant.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you don't have to break the bank on fancy lighting equipment and light boxes either. Just if you understand the fundamentals of light direction, you can really make it kind of work. And then the whole, 3 treasure and all that. And,
And
he takes pictures with potatoes, so you don't even need the fanciest DSLR either.
I agree with the Ngawa. I mean, yes, a cool wall mark is all you need, really. So you don't have to worry about the fancy kind of.
Just write thick at the bottom of the picture. That's all you got to put, thick.
Yeah, Miguel. Actually, if you want to, the guy that was on the show a little while ago, Joel, has a photography tutorial on his YouTube channel. Where he doesn't use a photo booth. He uses just straight backing paper, a a couple of lamps, he's good to go. So
diffuses and goes hard.
Mhm.
He takes
Yep. Yeah.
phenomenal photos. A lot of it is with the settings in either your phone or your DSLR.
Mm-hmm.
You do a really lot
Definitely understand the settings, because like for me, once I knew aperture and all that, my photos took a leap. A dramatic. And most professional photoists would still say I'm trash because I'm still learning. But I feel like I took a drastic leap once I actually understood what aperture was, and shutter, and then lighting, and it's like, oh shit, wow, I look like my photos are a million times better than
great job
taking a grainy ass picture with flash on.
Yeah,
excited
really,
next.
yeah, really good job, dude. Like, I mean, like we've seen from every single build that you've submitted so far, like it's just come from like one step to the next, and you're doing a bang up job, dude. Like, I can't wait to see what you do.
Yeah, keep it up.
And actually, with that, we've gone a little over
3 hours.
3 hours and 8 minutes. So I'm gonna have to cut the line here. Because we're going a little too over. I tried so hard to keep it.
It is quality.
We put the effort in. This is all this means. We don't want to scave on anybody.
Right. I don't. Yeah, that's the last thing I want to do. So we do have like I think two builders that we didn't get to talk about today, and we will talk about them in the next episode. So I do apologize. But Gunpla Miami did say, can we officially name?
That's a huge bitch.
It's a MSN 06 huge bitch.
And yeah, Miguel, dude, yes. First of all, thank you for submitting all this stuff. And and I hope that all the any of the stuff that we're talking about helps you in any kind of way. And that you just keep building, dude, because it just seems like you have such an amazingly bright future in terms of what you build ahead of you. So if this is how you start, bro, like I can't wait to see how you do along the road. So
get into some resin. Just saying.
All right, so with that, guys, let's go ahead and end this. Let's end this round table. Let's start with this person right
here.
Hey guys, excuse me. My name is Brian. Call me Bro Builder. You can find me on my YouTube channel on Tuesdays with these Madcap guys, and then on Thursdays where we're still working on that resin dom. I hang around a mechanism every once in a while. I'm always on Instagram, and I'm here to answer questions or just fucking bullshit because I like to talk. So come say hi. Good to hang out. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for being here, dude. Appreciate it. Boom.
Hey, Kyle, coolest Gunpla builder. And I don't know what to say to these things, so I'll end on a dad joke. I don't trust stairs. They're always up to something.
Thank you, Kyle.
You're welcome.
Clipping Nubs. You can find me Tuesdays, Wednesdays, all over the internet. I'm all over here. Twitch, YouTube. Just look for me. I'll come talk to you. Bye. Thanks for hanging out. Honestly.
Thank you for being here, guys. Thank you. Yeah, and back to me. So thank you guys for hanging out. I know this was I wasn't expecting it to be as long as it was again. First of all, thank you to Joel, True Grumpla, for being here for the first half of the show. Really appreciate him coming in, hanging out, talking. And then the discussion at the beginning of the show was also, I think, excellent. If you guys want more of that, let us know, and then we'll see where that goes. But again, thank you for submitting. For those who did submit, we will try to get to everybody's kind of catch up with next episode. I will reopen submissions again, hopefully soon, once we figure out schedules and stuff. And then well, also one quick thing. Once this thing is up on YouTube, once the replay of this episode is up on YouTube, what I do now is I add timestamps for everybody who submitted. So if you guys just want to move straight to your build, or you want to look up a build that was submitted, it'll be in chapters and stuff. So you can just click on the chapter, and there you go. There you go. So come and check that out. And then with that, thank you guys for hanging out. Hopefully you have a good night. Thank you for joining us. And we'll see you hopefully on the next one. All right. So
check out my Pornhub.
Bye.